Bradlin here at Divine Design Natural Health. Crowd, are you wild? Woo! Yes. All right. Let's get started. Let's tear right into it. We said all the stuff we can't say on camera off camera so that we won't say it on camera and get kicked off camera. Here we are. And Effexitol, Lucitol, yeah, these are some of the drugs that we take in this office. It's a wonderful thing. Diseases that don't exist, we're going to talk about. Let's get right to that article, Jonathan. Let's tear this up. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Vimeo. Here's the actual screenshot. Your account's been removed by the Vimeo staff for violating our guidelines, which change on a regular basis. They can change the guidelines however they say, whenever they say, and you have no recourse about it. Repeated guideline violations. We've had a Vimeo account for a couple months. Our first video got censored. Our first censored thing on video on Vimeo was last week. So just FYI, they're coming for you. You know, let us be an example. We got no problem. We got thick shoulders. We can handle this stuff. But we paid, just for everyone out there who hears this, Vimeo, screw you. We paid $900. We paid $900 for an account, and this is what you do. So we're going to get our money back. Hallelujah. But right there, see you, Vimeo. Peace. Next. Yeah. So here's a couple things. Whitney's not here, but she may be here next week. I wanted to send a shout out to her. God will not have his work made manifest by cowards. Keep that in mind. That's a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote. We were having a talk the other day, and she spit some of this stuff at me. I said, you know what? I need to throw those in the next class. So Whitney, thank you. Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. And right here is the good book. But the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice magic arts, pharmakia, witchcraft, black magic, sorcery, voodoo, you name it. That's your healthcare system. That's the pharmaceutical companies. That's who's pushing all this crap on you. The idolaters and all liars, they will be consigned to the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. Out of all that, out of all the list of people standing in line at the lake of fire, who are the first in line? Interesting, huh? Not the murderers. First in line are the cowards. Not the sexually immoral. I always find that interesting. So, yeah, let's hit that article. Very interesting. So here's some current events. Let's hit the article first, Jonathan, the link, pretty please. I wanted you to see this. This is a little article that's been floating around. We must have had 2 or 3 people that sent this to us just within the last couple days. I want you to see this. This is so interesting. Anti-vaccine chiropractors become a rising force of misinformation. This is so funny. Whoever wrote this, let's scroll down, go real slow because I'm going to read specific parts of this. Providence, Rhode Island. The participants traveled from around the country to a Wisconsin Dells resort for a convention. A bunch of chiropractors going to a convention saying, hey, let's get together for this health freedom thing. It's organized by a profession that has become a major purveyor of vaccine misinformation during the pandemic. Chiropractors. I'm telling you, if there is one profession that will not bow its knee to this nonsense, it's chiropractors. I used to say it would be pastors. But if there's one profession that won't bow its knee to this, it's us. So I've got your back, literally. Haha, see what I did there? We've got your back because we do not have to bow to this. Not our scope of practice. We don't deal with it. They've touted their supplements as alternatives to vaccines, written doctor's notes to allow patients to get out of mask and immunization mandates, donated large sums of money to anti-vaccine organizations, and sold anti-vaccine ads on Facebook and Instagram, the AP discovered. Doesn't any company do that? Doesn't anything that tries to grow? One chiropractor gave thousands of dollars to a super PAC that hosted an anti-vaccine pro-Donald Trump rally near the Capitol on January 6th. Isn't that interesting how they say that? They've been the leading force behind anti-vaccine events like the one in Wisconsin where hundreds of chiropractors came from the U.S., shelled out a whopping $299 or more. You know what that is? That's my continuing education, what it costs to continue to keep my license. They're making it sound like these guys are running a money laundering prostitution ring. with just, you know, a DoorDash for crystal meth is what they make it sound like, right? Let's keep reading. People trust them. They trust their authority, but they also feel like they're a nice alternative to traditional medicine. Stop right there. Oh, contraire mon frère. Traditional medicine is what we do. Traditional, conventional medicine, ancient. What you are used to with bypass surgeries and pharmaceutical, toxic, poisonous cocktails is new age pharmaceutical witchcraft, voodoo, sorcery. That would be called alternative and complementary, but we are traditional. So that right there is a lie. So just scroll down. Right here. You go because your back hurts and suddenly you don't want to vaccinate your kids. 70,000 chiropractors. They got the number right. That's cool. The high school kid that did this article did a really good job of Wikipediaing it. Chiropractic is not the only healthcare profession whose members have been associated with COVID-19 misinformation. Some, what type of doctors? Medical doctors have spread dangerous falsehoods about vaccines, a problem so concerning that the national group representing state medical boards warned in July that doctors who push vaccine disinformation could have their licenses revoked. Doesn't matter what kind of doctor you are. If you're just going against the official narrative, now you can have your license revoked as medical people. Pandemic gave a new platform to a faction of chiropractors who'd been stirring up anti-vaccine misinformation long before COVID-19 arrived. Why? Because healthcare has been plummeting while vaccinations have been going up, and anyone with a brain between their God-given ears would be able to discern that, right? Kids are getting sicker. Vaccine schedule triples after 1986, and the kids just get sicker, right? Chiropractic was founded in 1895. Anybody in here knows all that. Health freedom movement, keep going down. I just had another couple paragraphs I wanted you to see. Watch this. Interspersed in the article, third COVID wave on the way. Little advertisements. Read the next thing that's going to happen here. Keep going down, Jonathan. Nebraska chiropractor Ben Tapper landed on the disinformation dozen, a list compiled by the Center for Countering Digital Hate, which is a front group, which says he's among a small group of people responsible for nearly 2/3 of anti-vaccine content online. Nope, keep it right there. Don't move it. So remember when Dr. Joe Mercola shut his whole website down? He's on the same list. Tapper went viral with posts downplaying the dangers of the name that shall not be named, criticizing Big Pharma and stoking fears of the vaccine. Listen to this. Tapper said he's been called a quack, which we talked about last week, the actual origination of the term quack. Quackenslavin for Quicksilver, when the good guys called the bad guys quacks. Now they've turned it. 300 years later, they turned it. Now the bad guys call the good guys quacks. And lost patience. Look at this. Venmo and PayPal seized his bank accounts, seized his accounts. See that? So that's why I keep telling you guys, get your money out of the banks, or at least get something out of the banks that you can live on. Use crypto, use something, get away from these companies. Yes, we accept them for now. However, that's just so that people can get used to electronic payments. There will come a time when bartering and trading will be either phone to phone or hand to hand, because they're coming after your bank accounts, anything over $600. Did you or did you not know that? Show me by a show of hands. They're coming after your bank accounts over $600. Anything over $600, Let's Go Brandon wants to know. And then I think that's really all I wanted to show you there. Yeah, so just know that your quacky, pseudoscientific, cultish, uneducated chiropractor is such a threat to these people that they want to smear me and everybody else out there. Interesting, huh? So, diseases that don't exist. Here we go. And I wanted to tell you, understand how important this is. Because there is a one-size-fits-all, one-size-fits-anybody solution in 4 doses, 2 or 3 different doses made by 4 different companies of something to put inside your veins that is the only fix to this worldwide plague. Understand, there's 4 companies, how many different doses, how many boosters. Nobody's keeping track of who gets which one. Interesting, isn't it? So if you get Pfizer Part 1 and you want to get Moderna Part 2, no, you just go down to the, if you go down to the health clinic, then they've just got Pfizer Part 1, but you want a Moderna Part 2, guess which one you get? Interesting, huh? And I think we're going to show some things here in a minute that will flip you out. How many of you know that there are doctors out there actually putting what's in the shot, the contents of this thing, under a microscope? How many of you know that? Half dozen? Sweet. Well, yeah, we'll get to this. Okay, so the current events, here we go. If a vaccinated person dies, an unvaccinated person is blamed. Here you have the only product in history whose failure is blamed on those who do not use the products. This is the most asinine, maniacal lunacy I have ever seen foisted on adult humans. That would be like, you can't, there is no comparison. It's the only product in history whose failure is blamed on if you don't use it. Interesting, isn't it? Next, Why do the protected need to be protected from the unprotected by forcing the unprotected to use the protection that didn't protect the protected in the first place? I was watching a bunch of videos the other day. See, I keep my ear to the ground on dozens and dozens of censored, off the major, non-major labeled news sources, groups of people, groups of doctors, epidemiologists, vaccinologists, pathologists, medical doctors. I've listened to very few chiropractors because they're all quacks. But I listen to stuff that it's not on the news. Like, you're not going to see the stuff on the news because the news is owned by the people who don't want you to understand what should be on the news. So I was watching a video the other day, and this retired California nurse said it the best I've ever heard it said right there. Why do the protected need to be protected from the unprotected by forcing the unprotected to use the protection that didn't protect the protected in the first place? And she was speaking, I believe, at a school board commission where now they're calling in the FBI to label you as domestic terrorists if you don't go along with the indoctrination of your kids with transgenderism and, you know, males can give birth. I mean, that's the lunacy that we're seeing. It's demonic. It's completely demonic. Next. It's deception. The vaccine stays in your arm. You'll hear that all day long. I mean, I've heard it, I don't know how many times. But no, blood and lymph circulate throughout your body and definitely into your male cervix and your male uterus. That was not the amount of laughter I expected for that joke. It's much better. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, here, check this out. We got censored on Vimeo, but men can give birth and breastfeed. I'll read this. This is Helpline. This is like WebMD, Medscape, all this other nonsense. Helpline. You know, you type in a search term for I've got a lump on my butt, and before you know it, it's telling you that, oh, you have a lump on your butt? I do too. Let's compare and see which one's bigger. Show me yours, I'll show you mine. But if you got a lump on your butt and you Google it, it'll lead you to one of these sites, like this. Healthline, WebMD, Medscape. Can men get pregnant? Is it possible? This is in the parenthood pregnancy category of the website. I'll read it to you for those in the back. Yes, it's possible for men to become pregnant and give birth to children of their own.
No.
In fact, it's probably a lot more common than you might think. And they're calling me the quack? In order to explain, we'll need to break down some common misconceptions about how we understand the term man. Right. Isn't that crazy? So if they're redefining vaccination and they're redefining what a vaccine is and whether it gives you immunity or not, according to the CDC's website, they're redefining marriage. Doesn't stop there. Redefine man, redefine woman, redefine family. Next. But we get censored on Vimeo, and our channel gets kicked even though we paid $900 for it. Just let that, tell all your friends about how great Vimeo is, right? Current events. How many of you know what this is? Yes. Contents of your vaccines. What is that? Looks like some kind of demon creature. But scientists all over the world are putting it together and going, that looks parasitic, it looks otherworldly, it doesn't look real. I've looked through microscopes for hundreds of hours in my life. I've never seen anything like that. I'm not a microbiologist, I'm not a pathologist. Those guys live behind a microscope. This right here, never seen anything like it. I mean, you could take a cup of pond scum and you wouldn't see anything like that. Next, here's some more stuff. Synthetic looking round, almost metallic particles with kind of shards of things that don't even look like silica or sand at all. I mean, this is supposed to be in some kind of solution. Next. Almost kind of shards of broken, almost looking metallic things. Interesting. Next. Long, stringy, rope-like critters. So you see why we've been preaching about this for a year and a half, for 578 days, every week? See why we've been telling you guys? Because we predicted this was going to happen. We knew. We knew this was going to happen. We didn't know it was going to be this bad or this fast, but we knew that the vaccine would be tied to the mark. We knew vaccines were going to be tied to the mark a long time ago. We didn't know what was going to be in it, but here we are. 500 days later, people still bound down to this crap. Next. Human organ harvesting is real. How do I know? Everybody pull out your license. flip it over, see what kind of check mark you've got on the back of that thing. No, you don't have to right now. You don't have to. Just think about it. Just think about it. Where does all the blood go? Where do all the organs go? Do we have that many people losing organs? And University of Colorado patient denied an organ transplant due to a lack of a vaccine. Think about this. Just like the motorcycle accident I told you about a couple weeks ago. We're not going to touch you because you could have the Rona, but now if we give you the magical sorcery, demonism, witchcraft, voodoo, magic vaccine, now we can touch you. Same thing here. I'll show you the letter here in a minute. Oh, there it is. Blot out the name, University of Colorado Health Transplant Center. Here's the thing about this human organ harvesting trafficking thing. I'll read this. The transplant team at University of Colorado has determined it's necessary to place you inactive on the waiting list. Can you imagine? Like, you've been on a waiting list for a kidney forever. You're waiting. You get this letter in the mail, you're thinking, oh, here it is. But they're turning you down. You'll be inactivated on the list for noncompliance by not receiving the COVID vaccine. You'll have 30 days to begin the vaccination series. If your decision is to refuse the vaccination, you will be removed from the kidney transplant list. You'll continue to accrue waiting time, but you will not receive a kidney offer while listed inactive. So basically,
Wow.
look at this, blackmail. If you don't get the shot, we don't give you a kidney.
Shoot, go to McDonald's, get a hamburger.
So it's, I don't get that. I don't get that. Oh, so once you complete the COVID vaccine series, you'll be reactivated on the kidney transplant list pending any other changes in your health condition. Notice what they said there. They didn't say the vaccine, they said the vaccine series. So it's never going to stop. You bow a knee to one, there's going to be a booster. So shouldn't we, before we go replacing organs, which is a Nazi criminal war crime thing that we learned to do in World War II on Jewish prisoners, by the way, if you want to know how we learned how to do organ transplants, it's all based in demonism, witchcraft, Nazi medicine. Half your healthcare system. I've told you this a million times. The drug companies are all German names, right? I know we've got people in here with German heritage and lineage, beautiful people, beautiful country, but think about it. Like, there's a spirit that was there 80 years ago that we're bowing to again, the same spirit that's trying to eliminate certain people, right? So think about it this way. All these organ transplants, why aren't we teaching people to avoid the organ transplants? But no, we're telling people, get an organ transplant, but make sure you get the biological kill shot so that when we do put a new organ in you, we'll destroy it right away. It's unbelievable. It's Clown Town, upside down world, Clown Town. Next. Keep the faith, hold the line. Being fired, ladies and gentlemen, I know there's people in here losing their job, means you've just gotten a huge promotion when your coworkers achieve record levels of illness. So if you're losing your job, if you think you have to have it to fly, just wait. Just wait. And on that note, commercial break. Come on up. Amanda, yay.
All right, we'll follow that with something a little more lighthearted. This testimonial says, I wandered away from home for a few days, as I often do, and I came back with a nasty eye infection that made it hard for me to even open my eye. My mom tricked me by petting me and sprayed silver sol in my eye a few times. After just 24 hours, my eye is not red or swollen anymore, and I can open and close it like normal. That is from Tommy the Tomcat.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I didn't know Tommy the Tomcat could write. That's wonderful. All right, well, hey, we're a specialist clinic here. We specialize in mammals. Wow, that joke went over like a lead balloon, too. Mammals, get it? That was Tommy the Cat? Okay. All right. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Tell me again how you went on WebMD and you think you know what's wrong. That happens. Watching the government tell me how to protect my health while they allow cancerous chemicals in our food and water and air and cleaning supplies and personal care products. The list goes on. Yeah. Next. If you fear the flu or measles but aren't fearful of formaldehyde, glyphosate, or mercury, you may be experiencing symptoms of medical indoctrination. If you don't look at the ingredient labels for the drugs and the vaccines, I have nothing to say to you. Nothing. I'm not going to argue with you. So all you people out there that watch us and report us to the Vimeo police and the YouTube police, and you want to try to start a fight, and you come on Facebook and you say how retarded we are and how stupid we are and this and that, we don't respond to it. We're not being drawn into your drama. Go bark and troll somebody else. I will focus on people who want help. I am not focusing one iota of my life force and energy on negativity and trolls. I'm not doing it. Next. Speaking of Karens and trolls, I follow the science. No, you don't. You follow what demonic people are telling you, and, perverse criminals are telling you on the devil vision in your living room. That's what you follow. You're not following logic, you're following emotion. That's what you're following. Next. That's too good for me to even read. That's a good one. That might be my second favorite meme of all time. I've said it for so many times that so many of the names are just so demonic in origin, and then I came across that meme and said, yes, that's it. Somebody read my mind. All right. This is the basis of this whole entire thing. Diseases that don't exist. What if I could tell you what's the cause of all disease? Well, stress, the death cascade, which if you haven't watched, you should go back and check it out. It gets into a little bit of this. This is in a different vein, though. I want to go in a different direction. However, the primary cause of disease, right here. I'll just read this. It's like a page and a half. This was written by Royal Lee, the Titan, the Nikola Tesla of nutrition, the Thomas Edison of nutrition, back in 1958. Okay? Get this. It's too much. You're not going to believe it. In recent tests, mosquitoes refused to bite persons who were well supplied with vitamin B1. Therefore, it may be inferred that malnutrition now is to be considered a basic cause of malaria. This is going to blow your face off. And this was 70 years ago, almost. So mosquitoes bite you with low B vitamins. If the mosquitoes bite you and they really do carry the larva of malaria, right, then if you have a high nutrition threshold, you have good nutrition, you won't have malaria because you're not getting bit. You follow me? Yeah. What does this also get rid of? DDT, pesticides, mosquitoes, flies, ticks, the list goes on. Also, it's been found that lice leave rats and other animals if they are supplied with a better vitamin intake. Fleas were found to leave dogs that were being treated with vitamins for pneumonia. I've told you before, I'll tell you again, nutrition is the fix to every single problem. You don't know it yet, and you've got decades of deterioration that need to be fixed, but you're used to a magic pill, but it doesn't work like that. The magic pills shut off the symptoms so you don't feel it while the gears are still grinding. And you've done it for decades. It takes a long time to turn that Titanic around. And when you do, your body will start healing if you will stop poisoning yourself. Because when you take drugs, you're not just, and when you eat crappy food, you're not getting good nutrition and you're poisoning yourself. It's a double whammy. Double whammy. Think of it that way. So he goes on to say, Royal Lee, 1958, a Pandora's box. If both insect parasites as well as bacterial invasion are mainly a consequence of malnutrition by reason of a loss of power of the body to repel those instruments of possible death, what a Pandora's box was opened when we began to meddle with our natural foods. Sleeping sickness, oh, here goes. Typhus, malaria, bubonic plague, the Black Death, and yellow fever are in that class of disease in which the bacterial infection is very probably the secondary cause of disease. The primary cause being lowered resistance of the human body to the lice, fleas, or mosquitoes that carry the infectious organisms, as well as lowered resistance to the organisms themselves. Does that make sense? Everybody's worried about, Rona. Everybody's worried about mold in their house. Everybody's worried about their dude at work. Everybody's worried about their kids having, if you're up here, you don't worry. If you have your nutritional status up here, malaria, bring it. Typhoid, scarlet fever, That's what he's saying. If this resistance depends upon a high vitamin diet, it is obvious that outbreaks of the above list of fearful diseases is definitely made possible by malnutrition. Let's look at the second page. So a monstrous condition. I love this quote. This is so Royal Lee. God, he's a genius. All the writers on malnutrition who have made exhaustive studies of other nations stress the point that in countries where civilized adulterated foods are not used, there is no cancer. Read that again. In other nations where civilized, adulterated, chemicalized food, this was 70 years ago, by the way, before genetic modification of plants even existed, right? There was no cancer, no tuberculosis, no pneumonia, no heart disease. What's the number one killer in the United States? Heart disease. What's the number two killer in the United States? Cancer. What's the number three killer? I mean, they go back and forth. Other doctors, right? medical mistakes. They go back and forth, 1, 2, and 3. No diabetes. Look at that. No arthritis to speak of. No rheumatoid. No osteo. What? Although there may be terrible evidences of quantitative malnutrition and starvation otherwise, people, that don't know how to farm, or the flood and everything goes bye-bye, or there's a dust storm. Yeah, there's starvation. There is starvation. Isn't starvation a massive onslaught of malnutrition? Yes. Yeah, that'll kill you, won't it? So it seems that only a liberal use of white flour and white sugar can cause the extraordinarily high death rate so obvious wherever these foods are common. Want to know why you get a Krispy Kreme donut for getting a vaccine? Right there. In America, we've had this monstrous condition of malnutrition with us so long that we've become tolerant of it. Commercial interests promoting these foods, oh, here we go, are so powerful in their various activities that we are flooded with what 70 years ago? Propaganda about the food. You think they're not giving you propaganda about your politics and your school board meetings and your news and your pharmaceuticals and your shots? Flooded with propaganda and advertising material to blind us to the truth. It's been going on since the dawn of time. So manganese deficiency, check this out. I told you this was going to roll you up and smoke you. I wasn't lying. Some of the mineral deficiencies are just as spectacular as vitamin deficiencies in their destructive effects. Vitamin. All your vitamins are labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Simplify it. All your minerals are the things you find on a periodic table. Calcium, magnesium, selenium, phosphorus. Just to clarify, okay? And there are many more than that. I just named 4. So there's vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So a good example is manganese, which is a mineral. It's on the periodic table, which is required by all living cells as an enzyme activator. Very, very, very important. Without sufficient manganese, tendons and ligaments lose their integrity and relax, permitting bone malpositions and malfunction. In chickens, the disease known as porosis made itself apparent some years ago. The soil of most farm areas is becoming dangerously low in manganese, and this disease seems to have happened as a result. We figured out disease 100 years ago, and we did it with animals, because when a flock of animals, a flock of chickens, or a herd of cattle die, you lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So how do they fix malnutrition in the animals? Vitamins and minerals. That's why your commercials on TV show you fancy schmancy organic dog food for your dog, followed by Pop-Tarts for your kids. Turn on a TV for 5 minutes. Tell me I'm wrong. I believe fallen arches and vertebral malpositions are the commonest evidences of this deficiency in the human category. The 1958. People come to me, I've been a chiropractor for 35 years. And I look at their paperwork, yep, and your neck hurts and you got headaches and your back hurts. Did they ever do nutrition with you? No, they did not. This is why I do nutrition, by the way. It's not because I don't have anything better to do. Probably the osteopaths, the medical doctors that are not medical, they're medical doctors, the DOs, not MDs, osteopaths. Probably the osteopaths and chiropractors owe their profession to this kind of malnutrition just as much as the dentists are made busy by deficiencies of calcium, phosphorus, fluorine, and vitamins. Interesting, huh? That's why all the dentists have a thing of candy on the front counter. So consider critically. Oh, a question, a word that is not used anymore, thinking critically, to consider things critically. If the vital elements are left in foods, then they're no longer easy to store in perishable commodities. Or no, then they're no longer easy to store in perishable commodities. They will soon become infested with rodents, bugs, and insects. A wholesome food is bound to be a perishable one. So before you take the course of least resistance and buy what is cheap and convenient to make up your bill of fare, consider critically just what the picture happens to be. If a bug won't eat it, you shouldn't eat it. If you can leave a Twinkie or a Little Debbie oatmeal cake on the road and the ants crawl away from it, you shouldn't eat it. If it won't rot, eat it not. It's a rule that we live by. So what happens in a scamdemic? What disappears first? The kale, the organic kale, or the Pop-Tarts? What's going to make you live longer in a scamdemic? Organic kale or Pop-Tarts? Kale, right. Because with Pop-Tarts, you're committing nutritional suicide. You're destroying, so you're putting chemicals that now make you sicker and steal nutrition out of your body. So it's a double whammy. So right here is going to blow your mind too. Check this out. A farmer's conclusion. A farmer in New York State a few years ago made a contract with some New York hotels to take their stale bread and rolls off their hands to use as hog feed. His hogs had plenty of other foods too, having the run of a large orchard with windfall apples, no scarcity of vegetation, various byproduct foods that a farm affords. But the young pigs developed at only half the usual rate of growth and were subject to many diseases normally foreign to the pig species. Huh. Yeah, we figured out how to keep animals alive a long time ago. Why didn't we do it with humans? So diseases normally foreign to the pig species, particularly pneumonia. His brood sows had small litters or aborted. Spontaneous abortions, miscarriages. You would read that in human terms. His hens began to lay eggs with irregularity, menstrual problems. And chicks hatched from them were so feeble that few survived, birth defects. It seemed that a curse had been laid upon his farm. Interesting, huh? He finally came to the conclusion that the white bread might have something to do with the matter. Forthwith, he set up 2 test pens, putting one group of pigs on the white bread regimen, the other on the whole corn and wheat grain. In 3 months, phone's off. In 3 months, there was a woeful lot of pigs in one and a perfectly normal group in the other. The test absolutely established the responsibility of the white bread. The farmer was Senator W.P. Richardson of Goshen, New York. So you think that got any press time? Interesting. This is Royal Lee. What they did with his stuff, they basically, the government goes to Royal Lee and goes to his wife and says, hey, we burn all your stuff or you go to prison. I've never told anybody this story. He loved his wife, didn't want to go to prison, burned all his stuff. Anyway, I could teach a whole class on that. You can be healthier than you've ever been allowed to believe. You probably don't even have the disease you're told you have. You're more likely suffering from malnutrition and are simply being told. And simply not being told. New Age, alchemy, black magic, voodoo, sorcery, medicine, aka your current healthcare system, pays no respect to nutrition and does not teach it to patients in any discernible or practical way. Can I get an amen? Amen. That right there, that little 2-page thing written by Royal Lee in 1958 is more than your doctors know. And the reason people are being censored and the reason his wife said, hey, you're not going to jail, you burn your stuff. And he was a genius. He said, I can create it again. Okay, so the reason that they're all being censored is because they're speaking the truth against the illogical stupidity of what is modern medicine and pharmaceuticals. And if you haven't awakened to the idea that your doctors and nurses, some of them are in on it and they know it, and they love the money and they ain't going to give it up. How do I know? We treat a lot of people here. I'll just say that. Other people got into it altruistically to help people. They had no idea what they were getting into. But at some point, my friend, you have to make a decision which team you're going to swing the bat for. And it's either money, love money is the root of all evil, or it's you're completely okay with being a pauper and God will take care of you. So you got to make some decisions. But understand, they're all coming, both tracks of that, the altruistic track and the I want the money track, they're coming from the same source of education. You're not escaping that. Well, I'd go to my doctor and he just wants to give me drugs. That's his job. That's what he does. He can't give you herbs. It's illegal. What'd you think he was going to give you? Skittles? I hear it all the time. It's against the law for him to give you anything but drugs. Tell your friends, tell your family, write it down. He will get his license taken away if he doesn't give you a drug. It is by law and by license. He is required to cut you or drug you, period. Hopefully I'll never have to say it again, but I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. So, what's the difference between common and normal? People get this mixed up all the time. People say, oh, I got this disease, but it's normal. No, it's not normal. It's common. It's not normal for you to have diabetes, to be peeing out of your butt, and to have sausage fingers. It's not normal. It's common for you to pee out of your butt and have sausage fingers. It's very common, but it's not normal. So common is occurring, found, or done very often and prevalent. Salt and pepper are the two most common seasonings, correct? You wouldn't say salt and pepper are the two most normal seasonings. You'd say they're common because they're everywhere, right? It's very common. Your diseases are common, but they're not normal. Well, it's just normal when you're pregnant to be constipated and, not be able to pee, and it's normal to have all this pain, shooting stuff into your legs, and, you won't be able to feel your legs for the next 2 months. It's normal to have, postpartum depression. It's normal. Anxiety and depression, it's normal in a teenager. Nothing's normal. None of that's normal. Is it common? Yeah, because they all eat the same crap. But normal-wise definition is conforming to a standard, usual, average, typical, expected condition. Is it normal for kids to have autism? No. Is it normal for them to have diabetes? No. Is it normal for them to have allergies and asthma? No. But you're being told it is. Really, it's just common. So it's common, but it ain't normal. And I use ain't just emphatically. I know it's incorrect English, but I use it emphatically. So get over it. So illness and disease are usually called normal when they are actually only common. Question to ask. Here it is. Why are so many of these modern conditions so common? So here we go. Diseases that don't exist. For illustration purposes, we will paint a picture of a common person with a common condition who goes to a common doctor in a common healthcare setting for a common evaluation and a common outcome. Keep track of this. This is going to help you so much, and this will help so many people, that if you can share this with people. We will assume an average level of health with simply one drug. How many people come in here on one drug? I don't see it. I don't see it. For simplicity, we will use the most popular drug in the universe, statins. So we're just going to take one person, one example of one person with one drug, the most common drug, the most ubiquitous drug out there, statins. They're the most prescribed and most promoted drugs in history, ranking as one of the top 3 drugs worldwide for the past decade. Statins block an enzyme in your liver from making cholesterol, revealing why liver damage and statin use are related. And here's the key out of all this. This is the most important thing. We're taking just one person on one drug and showing you how that one drug can cause so many other problems. But here's the key. Insert a metal, a chemical, a food substance, some kind of toxic personal care ingredient with cancer-causing agents in it, or any number of other drugs for that statin, if you wish. In other words, don't be like, well, I'm not on a statin drug. Yeah, but you're on levothyroxine. You have been for 35 years. Well, I'm not on a statin drug. I don't care. You're burning Yankee candles at home and wondering why you have allergies. Well, I don't have a Yankee candle. Just get the point. Common story. So here it is. Your doctor discovers your cholesterol, 220. You got a statin to reduce cholesterol. 6 months later, you have muscle weakness, muscle pain, cramps, poor memory, shortness of breath, reduced libido. Sound familiar? Anybody? Every person you know that ever got put on a statin had those. I promise you. They might not have told you. But you complain about these new difficulties. Your doctor moves you from statin drug 1 to statin drug 2, a different drug in the same class, but with very similar biochemical actions and therefore the same side effects. So it's a different drug, same class, different drug, but we're just going to play a little random musical chairs with the drugs, and, oh, well, you don't like the side effects of this? Well, let's move you over to this one. That's scientific, isn't it? I'm the quack. Remember that. Next. Main point 1. Your side effects will be diagnosed as a new disease. So that muscle weakness or pain will now be called myopathy. Maybe an earlier sign of a potentially fatal condition called rhabdomyosarcoma. I'm sorry, this is in quotes. Tell me where you hear this. Muscle weakness or pain may be an early sign of a potentially fatal condition called rhabdomyolysis. Yes. You've heard that 1,000 times in your life and you don't even know it. Why? Because it's on every statin drug commercial verbatim. Rhabdomyolysis is skeletal muscle breakdown. They hide it in the words. They know you don't know what it means. Medical terminology 101. Rhabdo, skeletal muscle. Myo, that's the skeletal. Myo is muscle, lysis breakdown, skeletal muscle breakdown. So you've got muscle weakness or pain, which will be diagnosed as something called disease of the myo. Pathy of the myo is disease of the muscle. And it may be an early sign of a potentially fatal condition called rhabdomyolysis because your muscle fibers are breaking down because you don't have cholesterol to build muscles and they're tearing apart. So your legs hurt, typically in the back, your hamstrings and your calves. You will hear of this in commercials all day. You watch TV for 20 minutes, you're going to hear that. Because remember, statins, most prescribed drug in the history of human civilization. So every time you see Lipitor, Crestor, Torvastatin, list goes on and on. There's dozens of them. So you're already thinking about your aunts and uncles and cousins and husbands who are taking a statin and they can't walk anymore and they can't remember where they put their car keys or what your name is. Want to know why? Well, it couldn't have anything to do with the drug. Couldn't have anything to do with the drug. So main point number 2, then your side effects cause and will be caused by nutrient depletions by the blocking, suppressing, or inhibiting of normal physiology. In other words, you take a drug like a proton pump inhibitor, which inhibits the proton pumps in your stomach from being able, now you can't break down your food, now you've got digestive disorders, now because the side effects cause and are caused by nutrient depletions. Nutrient depletions. We blocked the ability of your stomach to digest food. So you're going to have what kind of deficiencies? Vitamins and minerals. Because you're shutting off the physiology that God created. So you're going to have vitamin and mineral deficiencies. You're not going to remember that manganese. You're not going to absorb that manganese. So now you're on Nexium or Prilosec or any of those other proton pump inhibitors, Zantac, and you're wondering why your back hurts because you're not digesting your food and you can't rebuild the ligaments in your back. But just to keep it simple, we're talking about a statin. But these side effects are will cause and are caused by nutrient depletions by the blocking, suppressing, or inhibiting of normal physiology. Or you could say it this way. The thief comes to steal, kill, or destroy. Put it into physiology. I'm just saying. Drugs can only do one thing. Shut off the physiology of God that he created. You still think your drugs are a good idea? Pharmakia, black magic, witchcraft, sorcery, voodoo? That's why it's called that. Main point number 3, many common drugs suppress your immune response. So your odds of infection and cancer increase. Also in 2021, your odds of what increase? Being diagnosed with some made up crap, right? Or a bioweapon dropped on you. You got a bioweapon dropped on you via a drone. Are you going to want to be on an immune suppressing drug? No, not at all. So your steroids, all of your immune suppressing drugs, guess what you don't want to be dependent on when the grid goes down and they shut down the pharmacies? Told you this a long time. We've been talking about this for a long time. Get off Walgreens and don't be dependent on that. So main point number 4, we made this big, so here goes. Common pattern, here it is. Those were the main points about how it all breaks down. Common pattern, you get diagnosed, you get a bunch of expensive tests that don't mean squat and are instantly obsolete, but you paid a buttload of money and the doctor said, well, we can't find anything. Yeah, but I paid $5,000 for an MRI. Yeah, but we can't find anything. What do you mean you can't find anything? Well, there's nothing. It's within normal limits. No abnormalities detected. Sorry. By the way, here's the bill. Sign here, right? And then you get unnecessary drugs for life. That is the pattern. Write it down, seal it, microphone drop, walk away. This is what your friends and your family and everyone you know is this right here. This pattern. Diagnosis, expensive tests, and necessary drugs. So how does this work? Okay, you take that statin, guess what? You're going to be diagnosed with hypercholesterolemia. We're told that high cholesterol levels are a major risk factor for coronary heart disease. It's an annual ritual to get cholesterol measured. So you'll hear this at family reunions and restaurants all day long. You'll overhear people talking about this all day. Stay aware, and you'll hear it. You'll walk past somebody, and you'll hear mom and daughter talk, well, I got my cholesterol checked the other day, and it was high. I don't know why. The doctor can't seem to figure out why my blood sugar's going through the roof. Your arteries are not blocked because you eat butter. The inner wall of your artery was damaged and formed a scab. Cholesterol arrived to heal and become part of the scab. The key is to stop damaging your arteries, not to stop making protective cholesterol. So if you keep taking that statin, remember that one drug, heart disease, all kinds of failure, all kinds of arrhythmias, all kinds of murmurs, all kinds of CHF, congestive heart failure, is a leading cause of death worldwide. Despite that statin that you're taking, see what I'm doing here? I'm just using one drug in one person. The number of heart attacks has remained relatively the same since they introduced the statin drugs 45 years ago. Heart failure has increased dramatically, strangely coinciding with the introduction of statins to the human population. It hasn't done anything to help. They do not reduce heart attacks, and often even say so in their printed magazine advertisements if you read the small print. We'll discuss angina pectoris later. Because I know some of you here are like, well, what about chest pain? Should you go to the emergency room? We can answer that. That's a good question. Hypothyroidism. How many women are on statin drugs and now they're told their thyroid doesn't work? Statins are often prescribed off-label, sorry I'm standing in your way here, to reduce thyroid hormone production in people with hyperthyroidism. Hypothyroidism means low thyroid, hyper is high thyroid, right? So statins are prescribed off-label. That means not for high cholesterol. That means we're going to give it to you off-label for something that it wasn't even approved for, or something that is a secondary thing that we can use it for, right? It's like when they took a non-smoking drug, I forget what the name of it was, and they rebranded it as a study drug or something, or a weight loss drug. It was a weight loss drug. They rebranded it, changed the color, changed the shape, same exact chemical thing, gave it a new name, made it a weight loss drug. That's off-label. Statins reduce CoQ10, zinc, and copper, all needed to activate T4 and turn it into T3. And we won't get into all this nonsense. You don't need to know any of this. Nobody needs to know any of this. Your body takes care of all of it, and you never knew it, and you don't have to know it. Your body takes care of it if you trust your body and you don't trust the demon-worshipping blood drinkers to kill you, right? Your hypothyroidism is actually not hypothyroidism. How do I know? Because your organs will work perfectly fine if you stop killing yourself. Number 4, fibromyalgia. How can one drug on one person, one normal, common, everyday person, one normal, common, everyday drug, harmless, right? Well, I don't know if I should stop taking my drugs. I feel like I should maybe take my cholesterol drug because they scared the crap out of me, and I'm thinking my head's going to blow off if I don't keep taking my blood pressure drugs, and then my arteries are going to fill up with plaque, and then I'm going to be pooping butter. That's what people think, because they've been these atheists have crawled up in your head and pitched a tent and made you afraid of your own heart and your own heartbeat. That's what they've done. So fibromyalgia, this just simply means fiber muscle pain. So pain in your muscle fibers. That's all it is. And the actual term is fibromyalgia syndrome. So syndrome means they don't know what causes it, but it just means you have sore muscles. That's it. Statins decrease your CoQ10. CoQ10 feeds the muscles. That's an enzyme, CoQ10. Think of this. Think of it this way. CoQ10, when you see CoQ10, just think of the word energy. You want to know where your fatigue comes from, people, on your statins? Right there. So statins decrease energy. Energy feeds the muscles, makes energy. So muscles will now hurt, spasm, and cramp. Muscle inflammation and pain will be called myopathy, disease of the muscle, common among statin users, right? If you have a muscle inflammation and pain in your heart muscle, what's it called? Cardiomyopathy or Sometimes if you just have pain in the chest and they don't know if it's actual the heart muscle, it's called angina pectoris. But if you have pain in the heart and you get flipped out and you're listening to the TV and you're thinking about the marathon runner that was running down the street and he just fell over dead from a heart attack, and you're going to run to the emergency room, chances are it's a muscle cramp. 90% of the time, it's just a flat out muscle cramp from what causes a cramp. What kind of deficiency causes a cramp? Vitamin or mineral deficiency causes a muscle cramp. So you're telling me that my heart thing that I went to the doctor for and got 3 CAT scans and 4 MRIs and a heart cath and a heart monitor, and they did a stress test, had me run on they thought it was my heart, so they put me on a treadmill? Let that sink in for a minute. So all that crap that they put me through was just a vitamin or a mineral deficiency? Didn't Royal Lee say that like 70 years ago? And we already figured it out with animals. You don't see animals having cancer and heart disease, do you? Because we put it in their food. Jesus. We make sure they don't die, right? When was the last time you heard of a pig farm or a chicken farm with an epidemic? Right, that's what I thought. Chronic fatigue syndrome, there you see that word again, right? This means you're tired because you don't have any energy, right? Statins reduce energy levels by decreasing CoQ10. See how these two go together? But remember, it's not just the statin drug. Remember, we could insert any chemical, any metal, any food, anything in your personal care products. Any of this can be caused by anything else. So women out there with your fibromyalgia and your chronic fatigue, it's not a disease. It doesn't exist. It's a syndrome. They don't even know what causes it, so how can they even call it a disease? It's a set of symptoms, right? And you're not being told what's even causing it, so how are they even teaching you that they're going to get rid of it? Oh, it's so asinine. It really is. How many of you think that's absolutely asinine? Totally. Angina pectoris, chest pain. See number 4, right? We just talked about that. We just laid rest to your, oh my God, is it a heart attack? Likely not. Likely not. Logically, no. Next. Oh, I'm sorry. Androgen deficiency. Guys, AKA, you would call that ED or erectile dysfunction. Here you go. You can't make testosterone without cholesterol. Notice the word. This one comes from this one. See the esterol? It's in the word. Estrogen, cholesterol, testosterone, progesterone. It all comes from cholesterol. It's in the word. That ester is a chemical bonding group, and the ol is another chemical bonding group. So the ons, that's another chemical bonding group. So you got testosterone, progesterone, estrogen. Those words tell you what the chemical makeup is of the, so you can't make testosterone without cholesterol. So you take a low cholesterol drug, or you have a low cholesterol, low fat diet. Ladies, here comes your infertility. Guys, here comes your limpy. Here comes your ED. It's all food, right? Libido operates the same way in women. It's infertility. Next. So we can save you a lot of money on in vitro fertilization, ladies. Infertility, same thing. See above. Menstrual problems, same thing. See above. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Hold on. What is that? Remember when people were dumping water on their heads 5 years ago? During the summer of 2014, I guess it was 7 years ago, the Ice Bucket Challenge went viral to raise money for research. Remember? Idiots dumping ice cold water to raise money for research. When was the last time you saw anything in research happen? Diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's. I mean, every place you go, they're asking for money for more research, right? Whatever happened to it? Damage to mitochondria from decreased CoQ10 could lead to this. Other causes, reverse spinal curve, cervical and lumbar. I won't get into the anatomy of this, but when you compress the anterior arteries against the vertebral bodies of the cervical or the lumbar spine, you get, and the anterior part of the cord is output. The posterior part of the cord is sensory. So if you have compression on the front of the cord, you get a lack of motor movement. That's why it's called amyotrophic. No muscle movement. That's what the word means. So when people have reverse cervical curvature from this, or from this, or from this, What are they setting themselves up for when the front of their spinal column, spinal cord, pushes against the back of the vertebral body? What are they setting themselves up for? Reverse cervical curvature, you're going to have a wonderful case of ALS, which will be diagnosed as genetic. Biochemical warfare agents in food, air, or water. You can cause problems with a lack of motor movement by any type of biochemical warfare agents. You and I would call them drugs or vaccines. In any of the food, air, or water. Remember, back at the very beginning, insert any chemical, food, metal into instead of a statin drug. Remember that? And any dietary issues. You can get ALS from any of that stuff. But that's the basis of ALS. Peripheral neuropathy, you will never hear that anywhere else, I promise you. Peripheral neuropathy, crippling, severe pain and motor loss in legs and arms. It's another way of saying ALS, basically. But peripheral neuropathy is 14 times higher if you take a statin. If you want your arms and legs to go numb, fall asleep, and you can't move them, peripheral neuropathy, great way to go. Just take a statin. Next, number 11. Hyperglycemia, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, we put them all together. Story of a patient who's no longer diabetic. Oh, I've got a few of them now. But here, she stopped the metformin overnight. By the way, none of the drugs that you're on right now are life-saving drugs. Outside of an emergency room, they don't exist, period. Doctor said she probably didn't need it anyway. So she quit the metformin. She goes to the doctor. She says, I quit the metformin. Doctor says, you didn't need it anyway. She's been on it for years. On it for years. Statins can raise blood glucose and insulin levels, insulin resistance. Your hyperglycemia may actually be a side effect of your statin drugs. So your premature aging from insulin may be a side effect. If you want to age quickly, take insulin. Pump it in. If you want to make your body rot, fall apart, and let your skin sag and look 20, 30 years older than you actually are, make sure you take insulin. If you want your kids to age faster, make sure they get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. But right there, I've got a bunch of patients no longer diabetic. No longer. I have to take off my shoes to name how many patients. One of them, you know what? One of them was my mother. Take that. Statins can raise blood glucose. Same thing happened with her. She goes to the doctor, says, doctor says, well, you look great. Your blood labs look great. Yada, yada, yada. The drugs must be working. Oh, well, I haven't been taking those for about... Says, well, you probably didn't need them anyway. That's what he told her. 2 or 3 drugs for how many years that you've been on them. Probably didn't need them anyway. That's science, you quacks. Yeah. Next. Alzheimer's or dementia. If you want to end up as not knowing who you are, here you go. Statins weaken synapses in your central nervous system. That means your spine and your brain. So we know this because vitamin D and CoQ10 are affected with statins. This leads to an unhealthy brain. Your brain is made of cholesterol. So if you take an anti-cholesterol or a low-fat, no-fat, low-cholesterol, no-cholesterol diet, you bought into that nonsense where they told you no butter, no red meat, don't eat any of that crap God made. Stop that. Eat the man-made margarine. It's much safer. It's been atheism and evolution and demon worship for decades. They're just showing their horns right now. Number 13. So how much Alzheimer's and dementia, by the way? Research, right? Every time you check out at some place, do you want to give $5 to Alzheimer's research? No, screw you. No. Osteoporosis. Statins decrease cholesterol, ladies, which lowers bone density. If I had a nickel for every woman that walks in here and says, what am I going to do about osteoporosis? Nothing. You're not doing squat about osteoporosis. We'll do more here for your osteoporosis, and here's why. Lowers your bone density. All sex hormones help build bone. Sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, remember that? Statins block vitamin D, so calcium will not be absorbed from the diet. This disease is not, this osteoporosis thing you've heard, it is not. It does not exist. That's why it's in this class. It does not a calcium deficiency. It's a decrease in bone density from vitamin D deficiency. That's why every patient in this office takes vitamin D. The one thing they're not talking, well, there's many things they're not talking about while they're busy censoring the crap out of everyone that's talking logic. You know, some of the big things they're not talking about in the media right now, one of the best ways you can boost your immune system, build your walls high, like I say, vitamin D. They don't mention it. And of course, they get you scared of the sun so you don't go outside. And when you do go outside, you slather on a bunch of crap that causes cancer. See what these people have done for decades? They're evil. And even if they're not evil themselves, they believe in evil. Oh, wake up. Oh, it just makes me crazy. Oh, and don't forget, ladies, Boniva causes osteosarcoma. That means cancer of the bone, and is completely ineffective, but it's on TV regularly. I mean, seriously. We just summarized any liver issue. You got any liver issue, you're taking a statin drug, it's killing your liver. That's why they test your liver enzymes to make sure they're not killing you too fast. Number 15, please. I feel like I'm Wink Martindale. I'm a game show host, and we're just going through all the different ways they can kill you with one drug. Main point 5. If you lower cholesterol below 170, you're leaning towards a brain hemorrhage. Some doctors even recommend lower than 140. When statins were first introduced, normal was 290. So every 10 points they bring that down, they get more market share. They do the same thing with their blood pressure. They do the same thing with your blood sugar. They do the same thing with your liver enzymes. They do the same thing, sorry ladies, with your thyroid hormones. Same thing. Main point number 6. Remember what we talked about, the organ harvesting thing? By the way, if you were an organ donor, I would say reverse that on your license. I've never been. Never did have a good feeling about it, you know. And the last, I'd say probably the last 5, 10 years, I've really realized like, okay, I've kind of almost felt, people made me feel selfish about not checking the box on the back of my thing. No, now I feel perfectly okay about it. Perfectly okay. Liver transplants increase, because wait a minute, hold on, think about it. You're donating your liver for free. Who's making the money off of it?
Pharmaceutical industry? I don't know.
This procedure costs between $250,000. They just got a free liver from you checking a box on your license. It is the perfect money laundering, organ harvest. It is perfect. They play on your emotions and get you to think, well, if I was in an accident or something, I'm not going to use them anyway. And you just give them away. Where's all that going?
You need to use some of that too. It's not total transplants, but use some of it for the pharmaceutical, for vaccines.
I would say so. Once you sign, I worked in an anatomy cadaver lab for a while. I'm never donating my body to science because I know what happens. So yeah, it's totally possible, Meryl. Absolutely, 100% possible. Do they use it for nefarious means? I don't know. What do they do with the dead babies? We talked about that last week for 3 hours. And you know what? There's still people that don't believe it. Even though we used their own documents and showed their own people talking about it. Oh, and how many of you know Project Veritas? Within the last couple weeks, Pfizer whistleblowers, people saying, oh yeah. Did anybody see this? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Whistleblowers from Pfizer, emails from the top dogs saying we don't want people out in public to know what we're doing with the babies. It's sad. But liver transplants increased 30% after introduction of statins. And this procedure, just like all of the ADD drugs and all the vaccines, everything, vaccine schedule increases, allergies, asthma, eczema, type 1 diabetes, all the kids stuff goes crazy. But you don't want them to get measles. God forbid them get chicken pox. Vaccinate the crap out of them, get 86 shots in them by the time they're 18 years old. Maybe they'll still be walking. Want to know why your kids are all having problems? Right there. But it's the same thing happened with liver. With the liver, you introduce statins and liver transplants go skyrocketing. Nobody seems to point this out. Nobody's asking the right questions. They're all just going along with it. Kind of like the whole scam right now. Nobody's asking the right questions. Wait. If they want to edit my genes, what's the question that I threw out last week? What do they want to edit them to? It's a gene editing Moderna modification of RNA. That's where they got their name, right? What do they want to edit them to? If they don't want me to be made in the image of God anymore, what image would they prefer that I be made in? So it's called the mark of the beast, and not the mark of the man or the mark of the dog or the mark of the sheep. It's the mark of the beast, right? I'm not saying the shot is this one. It's a precursor, definitely a part of the mark, but not necessarily the mark, right? Not a lighter note. Get on up here. I get a little fired up sometimes.
All right. So this one says, I have been part of an annual convention with my work for about 12 years. It's a 4-day event with intense activity. Every year I attend feeling tired and down. This year, however, after only seeing Dr. Brett for about 6 months, I attended my event feeling full of energy, having great clarity, and loving my time. Thanks, Dr. Brett and staff, for your commitment to helping and healing for greater good. I am forever grateful.
Right on. Excellent. I'll take that. I will take that all day long. How many times people come in here, they can't walk, they can't work, they can't drive a car, they're afraid of passing out, having a seizure, running their car off the road, something like that. And then they come in here for a few months, they get better, they can work, they can drive, they can get on the highway. They're not freaked out. I love it. Did you know disease runs in families because bad eating habits run in families? So that gestational diabetes, ladies and gentlemen, ain't gestational diabetes, it's crappy habits. Doctors say, don't worry, the x-ray won't harm you. You all know that one's true, right? What if I told you nutrition prevents sickness better than pharmaceuticals? A good portion of the population would call you a quack, and even though you've got tens of thousands of testimonials on that wall right there, hundreds of them on Facebook and I would say YouTube, but they canned us. I would say Vimeo, but they canned us. Even though you've got hundreds, tens of thousands of testimonials, they'll still call you a quack, even though you got people that don't have diabetes anymore. And the dialysis centers and the renal failure centers and the cancer centers are full of people that still have diabetes. Next. Next. There we go. There it is. The pride and arrogance that comes with this, the laziness and debauchery that comes with that, that's what happens. Human nature. It takes a special person to walk in here and say, I need help. You know, and I love those people, those humble, and they get it. But people that walk in here and think they know everything, they just don't, we don't let them be patients. We select you, you don't select us. And Relapse Row said, and I love his thing, it's Freddy Krueger. Schools be like, drugs are bad, then prescribe a 6-year-old Adderall for not wanting to sit in the same spot for 8 hours. Yeah. You know why they came up with all that stuff? Because they were bugged out about the cocaine wars back in the war on drugs back in the 80s. See, they didn't want your kids to, you know, get near a plant or anything that was made from a plant. They'll just make this crap in a plant and feed it to your kids 10 years later. And the war on drugs, they stole all your money and got your kids still addicted to something worse than coke. Perfect. Next. More diseases that don't exist. Here you go. This is going to blow your mind too. And we're almost done. I can't believe it. You know what? We'll be out of here by 9:30. Wow, we were running right on time. I am flying. This is great. All right, more diseases that don't exist. I'm going to preach on each one of these for a minute. Throw them up there, Jonathan. Let's just see all of them. How many of you know people who are suffering with all this crap? Some in here, you're wondering, like, what? What? How could those not exist? This is just a brief overview of some stuff. Fever. Here it is. A fever is not your enemy. A fever is your body trying to take care of business. So medicine says, take a fever. You all know it. Tylenol, acetaminophen, blah, 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 and the list goes on. But your body, just remember this, this will save your life. This will save your life. Your body that God created and knit together in your mother's womb, and which is fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't care how many atheists and blood-drinking Luciferians tell you, your body will not cook its own brain. Write it down, tattoo it in your forehead or the back of your right hand, and stop being afraid of a fever. Yes. Stop. Knock it off. More damage has been done by fever reducers than you will ever do by a fever. I promise you. Fevers. It's very simple. Your body is raising the temperature to cook off the pathogenic stuff that it needs to, and to mobilize calcium and white blood cells to the areas that are happening to have an infection at the time. That's it. Let it go. You don't have to control it. your kid ain't going to die. Right, Ashley?
Right.
Number 2, indigestion. So, if you're plugged up, or you're peeing out of your butt, or you've got gastroesophageal, GERD, heartburny crap going on, more than likely, just from logic, I'm not asking you to be a gastroenterologist and to show me your, surgical record of how many stomachs you've stapled. I'm asking you simply, what would be the number one thing that would cause these problems? Number 2. Problems with number 2. What would it be out of everything we've covered already? What would be the logical thing? Nutrition. But if I had a nickel for every person that came in here and had their butt sewn together, or had their, I'm not kidding, had their butt sewn together, or had their intestines ripped out, or went through hell on wheels with their underwear on fire, trying to figure out why they couldn't get on a plane and travel, or why they couldn't sit in a car and drive 5 hours, and nobody, that 3 or 4 gastroenterologists, every single one of them said diet doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Let that sink in, and you can call me a quack Monday through Sunday, all day long, because I know something they don't know. I was educated in the nutrition side of things, and they were not. So, all of that stuff is a lie. It doesn't exist. You created it. Infertility. Now, here's something that, it's a touchy thing. Miscarriages. Remember when they talked about the pigs that had crappy litters?
Mm-hmm.
Women, if your body is not going to carry to term an infant, the only fault that you need to really shoulder is the nutritional one, right? It's not God cursing you. It's not because of your past things that you did or whatever. I mean, I suppose it could be anything, but the biggest thing that you really need to consider it being is the fact that your body cannot support another living organism because your diet sucks. Get over it. Realize it. The IVF and all the fertility crap that you're going through might be the fact that you're taking a thyroid pill that's screwing up your digestion so you can't assimilate nutrients to build a critter in your womb. Just like we did with the statin thing, right? So it doesn't exist. It's fake. It's a billion-dollar industry. They're genetically modifying humans, and this is feeding into it. They're creating the problem, and then you've got a solution waiting for you. Number 4, the hypertension, low hypertension thing. Oh my goodness. If I had a nickel for every time somebody comes in here and says, I've got hypertension. Who told you that? My doctor. Okay, but what symptoms do you have? That's just a condition. That's just a name. That's a symptom. That's a thing. How do you know you have high blood pressure? Like, do you have pulsing, do you get headaches? No. Do you have, prodromes? Do you have migraines? No. Do you have murmur? Do you have palpitation? Do you have arrhythmia? Do you have blah, 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 blah? No. Well, then what the hell do you have? Who told you you got anything? Well, my doctor said my blood pressure's high. Your blood pressure is your blood pressure. Your blood pressure is just there, right? So if you're poisoning yourself breakfast, lunch, and dinner, would your blood pressure be high or low? High. What do most people have? Low hypertension or hypertension? Do most people poison themselves 3 times a day? So if you don't poison yourself, say you just cut it back and you poison yourself 1.3 times per day, would your blood pressure come down? How many people have low hypertension? Hardly any, right? Because their body is taking in a toxic substance. If you take in a toxic substance, your heart is going to go, and it's going to say, why are you killing me, man? Why are you killing me? It's pumping because it's an autonomic response in your nervous system where it's like, that's a poison, that's a poison, that's a poison. You want to know why you got high blood pressure? 2 reasons. You eat crap, and number 2, they sent you home with a blood pressure monitor to sit by your TV.
Yeah.
Turn on that TV, you're watching CNN, you're watching the stupidity of men giving birth. You're like, your heart's pounding out of your chest. You're like, oh, my blood pressure's high. I've got insomnia, I can't go to sleep. Well, I wonder why. You know what I mean? Migraines, same thing. But the thing about migraines is this, I want you to every time you hear the word migraines, I want you to replace it with these words. Febreze, Glade, Chanel No. 5, sucralose, NutraSweet, all the crap that is an artificial sweetener, biochemical warfare toxin that was designed purposefully to kill human beings. That's how it was designed and discovered. So migraines, if somebody comes in here, they won't stop drinking Diet Coke, there's a little box on the intake forms. And I don't know, some people leave stuff blank. But see, I don't waste space and I don't waste time. If there's a question there, I want it answered. Because we know what every one of these questions, we see a thing in that box and okay, there it is, boom, right there. Pretty much take one look at 2 pages and say, completely 100%, she needs to stop chewing the artificial sweetener gum. It's the Eclipse gum right there. That's all it is. That's what the migraines, the rest of the crap will fix in a little while. But the minute she stops the Diet Coke, there goes the migraines. The minute she stops the Diet Coke. The trick is getting her to stop the Diet Coke. That's the trick. See, that's where, that's the secret sauce, right? But the migraines thing, I would have to take off my shoes to count the number of times. I'd have to take off all of your shoes to count the number of times people, once they get rid of the toxic food substance or the artificial sweetener or the heavy metal or whatever it may be, they get rid of their migraines. They just go away. No drugs. So it doesn't exist. It's you created it by not understanding food, air, water, chemicals. Number 6, high blood sugar, low blood sugar. Now, if you've been to these classes before, don't answer this question. Where does your blood sugar come from? If you've been to these classes, I don't want to hear it. If there's a newcomer, where does your blood sugar come from? This is not a trick question. This is a simple question.
Diet.
Huh?
Diet.
Perfect.
What's your intake?
High five, right on. Give her the golden
I
star.
thought they were crazy 2 years ago. I thought they were completely nuts.
Ashley and
Yeah.
Charlie, they were and they are. They get nuttier every time.
I know.
I see him a couple times a week and he gets nuttier every time I see him. But the high blood sugar, low blood sugar thing, your blood sugar comes from your diet. Newsflash. Well, my doctor can't figure out why my blood pressure is going through the roof. My doctor can't figure out why my blood sugar is going through the roof. I'll tell you why your blood sugar is going through the roof. Because you're eating crap. You're eating sugar. Blood, it says it right in the name. That's how they hide it from you. It's right under your nose. High blood sugar. You've got too much sugar in your blood. How did it get there? An alien mothership? How did it get there? How did it get in your blood? You either put it there or you consented for someone else to put it there, right? Allergies. Chemical sensitivity is all this is. Chemical sensitivity usually injected via a hypodermic needle into the bloodstream with particles that don't belong in the bloodstream, so it creates a chemical sensitivity to peanuts or milk or soy or all the other crap that we talked about last week that's in the shots. All of your kids are having these artificial, immune responses to all this crap, all these food problems, because the food is in the vaccines. They put the molecules in the vaccines. It'll say right there, casein, which is milk. So you're wondering, it's floating around in your blood undigested. Now the next time that kid comes in contact with casein protein, guess what's going to happen? Same thing goes with latex. Same thing goes with peanuts. Same thing goes with all the other crap in vaccines. Because when you inject it with a hypodermic needles, what year were they invented? 1850s, right? So we weren't able to inject anything into a human being with the exception of like a goose quill with an animal bladder. You could put it into the skin and rub it in. But when we finally got the technology to build hypodermic needles, now we can put stuff into the bloodstream which doesn't belong there, and that's going to cause an immune response that's going to blow you up. And it's going to go by many different names called allergies, asthma, eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis. Name a tissue, and there you have it. Name a tissue. Encephalitis, brain, right? Hepatitis, liver. It goes on and on. We never had allergies until we developed hypodermic needles. Allergies, I'll write that down. Allergies never existed in the human population until the invention of hypodermic needles. And now, when you have allergies, allergists, you go get it treated with a what? A needle. That's hilarious. Who makes this crap up? Polio. Well, what about polio? What about smallpox? If you look at the chapter 4 in Reasons to Vaccinate is my favorite chapter of that entire book. Charlie, go grab that book off the front table. Reasons to Vaccinate. Wonderful. How to save your life with vaccines. This is great. I want to circulate this book around. We sent it around last week. People, it was mind blower. I want you to read chapter 4, send it around, page 33. It's my favorite. I read it a couple times a day. So polio. What happened with polio? They renamed it. It was still there. They renamed it. It's kind of like exactly what they're doing right now, right? They just take flu and rename it. Polio, they renamed it and created a vaccine for it that had cancer in it, according to the CDC's own literature and according to the FDA's own literature. And then they just renamed it. Now they call it acute flaccid myelitis or acute flaccid polio, polio-like myelitis. There's a bunch of different names, AFP. That's why they came out with the little thing just recently within the last couple of weeks, and they said there will be a polio-like illness that attacks children in the winter months. Did you hear this?
No.
Mark my words, mark my words, mark my words, mark my words. That's why they're pushing for 5 to 11-year-olds to be or 5 to 15-year-olds to be vaccinated. A polio-like illness will attack children in the winter months, October, November, December, which is flu season, which, if you've never heard this before, what comes after flu season? Allergy season. What comes after allergy season? Flu season. What comes after flu season? They've got you coming and going, right? You see how they do it? They label it a whole season. It's not a season. It's not even a disease. Flu. So polio, more diseases that don't exist. What happened? Who synthesized, or I should say, who isolated, and who? What's the word I'm looking for?
The verb.
Who isolated the polio virus? No one. Ever. Who isolated the measles virus? No one. Ever. Who isolated the chickenpox virus? No one. Ever. So list right here with polio, list all that crap that all those viral things that you thought were diseases that no one's ever isolated and purified. There it is, purified. No one's ever purified and isolated it, and we'll get to that in a minute. Any of that. Any of those viral diseases that you're pumping your kids full of, MMR, DPT, DTaP, Tdap, all that crap. All the viral stuff, right? We're not talking bacterial stuff, we're talking viral stuff. CV19 exists only in silica. What does that mean? In silica, what does that mean? That only exists in the computer as computer code. If you don't understand what I mean, go back to Darkness to Light Part 10 and go back to Shotpocalypse. Watch that. You'll understand what I mean. This has never been isolated or purified. But if you say something like that, even though 95 other medical organizations on Earth have substantiated that and lawsuits have been filed about it, you're labeled a conspiracy nut for not believing that that nobody's purified it and isolated it. Biggest scamdemic in the history of the world, his face would be on Time magazine. Whoever purified it and isolated it. It'd be Time magazine Man of the Year or Woman of the Year, depending on, well, you know. Scoliosis. Scoliosis, I'll just say this. A school nurse diagnosed it 25 years ago, and you're still worried about it. I've got scoliosis. No, you don't. You're perfectly fine. How many people? Now, if you were tipped over this way, and you were able to lick your left shin, now you got scoliosis, right? But scoliosis is not a physical problem, it's a neurological problem. It's not a structural problem, it's a neurological problem. Because what pulls the muscles? The brain, right? And it uses the bones, it uses the muscles to pull the bones. So really, is it a structural problem or is it a neurological problem? Neurological problem, right? Doesn't exist. You're all going to have a little bit of, asymmetry, right?
That's why you need children coming in to get adjusted.
The children are the easiest to adjust. They heal the fastest. They're just kids. If we taught our kids this instead of thermometers and fevers and Tylenol and saltine crackers and 7-Up when you have a cold, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. That's why you need kids in here. But here's the deal. The kids are so sick, I don't touch the kids unless the mom comes in first.
Right.
You're never going to fix a kid unless you fix the mom first. Scoliosis. How many people think they're doomed and they grow up their entire lives because they bent over like this and the nurse took their finger and ran down the spine and said, yep, you got scoliosis, darling, I'm sorry. And you know, maybe 1 out of 10,000 of them had to have a back brace because they were kind of like this, or high right shoulder, high left shoulder. And it usually goes the same direction in women all the time. And it's usually women or men?
Women.
Always women. There's a reason. Neurologically, there's a reason. Sunburn. How does sunburn not exist, you quacky fool? How does sunburn not exist? Here's the deal. Is sunburn a nutritional disease, a nutritional disorder?
Lack of vitamin C?
What you've been taught is that how could it be? But the truth is, isn't everything. So, if you put sugar in a toaster, what happens to it? It burns. Good. If you put plants out in the sun 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 12 years, what happens to the plants? Really? It grows. So, all right. So now let's just follow that logic. If I eat a bunch of sugar and sugar is floating around in my blood, I go out in the sun, smear on a bunch of mineral oil, and lay there with a reflector on my face, what's going to happen? First of all the ladies are going to come running. That's number one. Quack. Look at the quack. Look at the quack. So you lay out, you've got, what's going to happen with the sugar? I got sugar in my blood. I just drank Gatorade and all kinds of little Debbie crap, and I've got sugar in my blood. What's going to happen to my skin? Is it going to burn? Good. Now, if I drink a salad, if I shred a forest, and I got chlorophyll in my blood, and I go out and I lay in the, now what's going to happen?
I'm gonna grow.
Ho, 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 green giants. No, I know. So is it going to be, am I going to burn?
No.
Right, you're gonna survive, you're gonna grow, you're gonna thrive, right? So sunburn is a vitamin and a mineral deficiency. That is a complete and total scam, because how many people ever got sunburn, ever got skin cancer 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago? You find mummies with skin cancer? These cats lived in the desert. These Egyptians, what? You don't see them writing hieroglyphs with so-and-so got cancer. Their skin was falling off with a melanoma, right? Think about it. Cancer, we never recorded it until what, 150 years ago? You never heard the word cancer. Before the wasting away disease was cachexia, yeah, I get it. But think about it. Now we're spraying a bunch of chemicals in the sky, the sun's hitting it, we're telling, we want to block out the sun to stop the growing cycle. We're demonizing CO2, even though every plant has to have it, and you're smearing titanium dioxide on little Johnny so he doesn't get skin cancer when you take him to the beach after he just ate peanut butter and jelly and 5 Gatorades. Full of sugar, right? It's fake. If you eat healthy food, you don't have to worry about burning. I know that's a stretch. I know you guys have a hard time comprehending that because you've been skin cancer, dermatology. I get it. I get it. Go get burned and then suck down a shake and see how fast your skin recovers. Do it. Try it. Chest pain. We talked about that. So the list goes on and on and on. Next. However, we'll talk about, yeah, we got to talk about immune stuff. Look at this. Every immune condition, seriously, this is ridiculous. Your joints, they call it rheumatoid arthritis. Your thyroid, it's Hashimoto's. If it's up, thyroid, if it's down, it's Graves. See, it's totally different autoimmune condition. If it's up or it's down, hyper, hypo, they like to keep you confused. If the autoimmune condition is your nerves, multiple sclerosis. If it's in your intestines, it's usually Crohn's, celiac, etc., whatever name they want to give it that week. If it's a cellular thing, they'll call it CFS. If it's a muscular thing, they'll call it FMS. If it's skin, it'll go by all these different names. But here's the deal. Here's another thing you will hear on every commercial, and I quote, I will read this. Your overactive immune system is attacking your fill in the blank joints, ... quote. Your overactive immune system is attacking your thyroid. Your overactive immune system. It's the same thing as a fever baking your brain. It ain't going to happen. Your overactive immune system. The question to ask is, why would the body's own immune system attack its own tissues? If you want to know the answer to that, watch The Evil Parents of Autoimmunity. It's a class we did a year or two ago. For all autoimmune diseases, which, by the way, they're creating more every day, there's hundreds of them. If you want to know about that, check out the class called The Evil Parents of Autoimmunity. Anyone with multiple sclerosis, anyone with scleroderma, any of these skin things, they need to understand that stuff. And then the other thing, last thing, before we go into the second big chunk of this thing, congenital heart anomalies. Take an epidural, slow it all down, take Pitocin, speed it all up. Get your kids shot up with ultrasounds and all kinds of stuff pumping through your uterus, trying to figure out if it's a boy or a girl so you can paint the room pink or blue, and you're wondering why your kids have congenital heart anomalies. And that's all nutritional as well. So, medical researchers have chronicled 20,000 different diseases, much more than that now, many more than that, naming every variation. They only have thousands of disease names because of the number of bodily organ and tissue systems that express the symptoms of chronic poisoning and poison expulsion from the body in thousands of combinations of different ways. All of this is only one disease. If you want to know more about that, go see Stress the Death Cascade, and I will show you every disease on 10 minutes. You'll see a board about the size of that. It's actually this size, and we'll go through, here's all your diseases, and here's how they're caused. That is one of our most popular classes. Toxemia, there it is the universal cause of disease no matter how it manifests itself. Toxemia is just toxins. Tox is toxin, poison. Emia is in the blood. Poison in the blood. Interesting, isn't it? Because what do they want to put in your arm? Toxemia. Toxemia, right? Universal cause of disease no matter how it manifests. Although toxemia may arise from many sources, it basically exists because of insufficient nerve energy to sufficiently eliminate exogenous poisons and body wastes. It's a big word, big sentence. Insufficient energy to eliminate outside poisons. Okay? Toxemia simply means poison in the blood and is actually a term not broad enough to cover the whole poisoning process. Toxicosis, or a condition of toxicity, overtakes cells, tissues, and interstitial spaces. In short, the entire body is toxic. I can't lose weight, toxemia. My hair's falling out, toxemia. My thyroid sucks, toxemia. My guts are falling out, toxemia. My skin sucks, toxemia. It's all toxemia. Next. Oh, and here's a commercial break. And note, I want you to all think about this. Can you or can you not vaccinate against toxemia or toxicosis? No. You're actually making the problem worse. Commercial break. Yep, more toxins in the system. Yep.
All right, so this is a very, very cool testimonial. She says, for 4 years, I've struggled with a terrible skin condition when I had burning, itching, and scaling feet. It had spread up from the bottoms of my feet to the inside of my ankle. I could not wear flip-flops or any sandals at all, and it was very embarrassing. They would actually itch so bad that I would scratch until I opened wounds in the bottom of my feet. It was affecting so many areas of my life. I was inconsistent with my supplements and diet and had absolutely refused to take my herbal liquids. I committed to the herbals, and within 1 week, my feet are 90% better.
Wow.
The burning and itching are gone, and the skin is nearly healed. If only I had been compliant with the herbals a year ago. This has been life-changing for me.
Wow.
That would have been a podiatry appointment, or that would have been a dermatological podiatry appointment. You see what I mean? Which one would you go to? A foot doctor or a skin doctor? Neither one of them would have fixed it.
Both.
And both. Right. The answer? Both. All right. Let's mean what we say. Say what we mean. Perfect. Choose life or choose death. You want to wear a diaper on your face, get shot up with toxemia, stay at home? Screw that. I'm going to live out in the sunshine. I'm going to eat colorful stuff. I'm going to hug people. We will never have masks here. You will never have a vaccine here. By the way, I've got friends of mine, very close friends of mine, that run other clinics across the nation. Their vaccination rate in their offices is upwards of 50%. A few of them that I've talked to. Our vaccination rate here is 1 person. So I'm looking out for your well-being, our well-being, the staff's well-being, but people understand this. The only reason we have a very, very, very low rate of people who get this nonsense injected into them is because we teach people, which your doctors don't do. Take that.
Amen.
We choose life. Kool-Aid only works if everyone drinks it.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that. That was on Facebook.
That guy's a demon.
He's what?
He's a demon.
Yes.
He's a Jesuit demon. Next. Hoping that tomorrow we have a mass television outage so that the pandemic can end. I told people forever, kill your TV. So there's nothing there for you. Next. Read a book, learn a language, play an instrument, do something productive. Show me proof. You send them proof? Close their eyes. You're a conspiracy theorist. Yes, I am. Bring it. Call me whatever you want. But I am not taking advice on how to live from you. Ever. Going on. Germ theory. This right here, everybody should, this is the simplicity of it. We try to keep this very, very simple, okay? We've told people this before. The germ theory. Think Louis Pasteur. Think the pasteurization of your milk and your orange juice and all that. That's because people were scared to death of germs. So they kill all of the good stuff in your juices and your milks and your stuff like that. Louis Pasteur. Antoine, Antoine Beauchamp, Beauchampe. Antoine Beauchamp said, the germ means nothing, the terrain is everything. In other words, if you've got your high walls, the germ can't take over because you've got a healthy terrain that will only foster germs if you're chock full of crappy food, metals and chemicals and other stuff that attracts pathogenic microorganisms. So, yeah, notice, you just saw that. The fish, innately intelligently, would go from the dirty, polluted stuff over to here, would it not? So, what would we do? What would be the logical fix if you had a tank full of dirty, tank full of fish in dirty water? The eternal question. So would you change the water? Yeah. That would be the natural, logical thing to do. But you're being told, change the environment, change their lifestyle, right? But you're being told, what's the solution? Vaccinate every fish in the world. Track them all down, find them, and force vaccinate their asses until their tails stop wagging. That's what you're being told. The lunacy of that is completely clean the damn tank. Clean the tank. Don't let them drink and eat and roll around in poopy water. Clean the tank. What are people doing right now? When they pull down to the 5-lane highway 3 doors away that I call Chick-fil-A. Sorry, Freudian slip. What are they doing when they eat that crap food? What are they doing when they buy their crap groceries? What are they doing when they slather crap on and they don't even know? And they take Johnny to the beach and put titanium dioxide on his face. They don't even know. They're creating this. Does that make sense? They're wanting to live here, but they're in the wrong bowl. So here's the deal. Well, yeah, let's talk about this first. 97% of all scientists agree, those funding the research grants. You want to know why they're pushing this all through the schools and why they're pushing it all through the colleges and stuff?
Money.
You get all your money from the federal government. All of your research will go away. How do I know? I worked for a university that was right down the street from Pfizer Pharmaceuticals in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So all of our research coming out said good or bad things about Pfizer drugs. Good things. If it said bad things about Pfizer drugs, what would they do? Well, they would call you in, right? And they would say, hey, we have a position for a drug rep for our company. You can come work for us. We'll give you breast augmentation. We'll give you fake this, fake that. We'll buy you a car, buy you a house, do this, do that. You'll get to hobnob and fly around and wine and parties and stuff with the doctors and maybe find somebody that you can marry. All you got to do is sign here that this paper will never be published. Think it doesn't happen? I know people it happen too. They pay for all of it. Here's a brand new car. Here's a nice little pad for you to live in. Just sign this paper that says you're never going to publish this. That's how it works. Check out the next one. Don't believe me? Medical students never get to the stage of asking questions. Let them ask one and see what happens. My local university library is divided into two main sections. The medical library, where medics, doctors, can consult authoritative textbooks on all branches of medicine, and the general library for everyone else. Significantly, all works relating to the sociology of medicine, the critique of medicine, or medical history belong to the general library, where medical students will not have to be exposed to the possibility of reading books that might actually question the premise of the system in which they're being trained. Two different libraries. I've seen it. So from 1933 to the present day, virologists have been unable to present any experimental study proving that influenza spreads through normal contact between people. I will read that again because I heard you tilt your head and go, what do you mean? I grew up telling my kids, oh, stay away, I'm contagious, you shouldn't touch this. This blows all that out the window. From 1933 to the present day, those who study viruses have been unable to present any experimental study, read that again, proving that influenza spreads through normal contact between people. All attempts to do so have met with failure. What do I mean by that? I'm so glad you asked. 1918, Spanish flu killed 50 million people, right? You've heard this, 100 years ago? Like the prototype to what we're doing now. 100 healthy people were subjected to being squirted with secretions from sick people. How many got sick? Secretions, blood, or not blood, but mucus and snot, and sneezy stuff. Number two, they injected the healthy people. So they got squirted with the secretions, nobody got sick. They injected it into healthy people, nobody got sick. So a sick person blew their breath into a healthy person, nothing happened, and it didn't work with animals. So what does that tell you? Is a virus, is the germ theory the causative agent of sickness? Or is it the terrain theory? Because they injected healthy. The only people who were sick were the people who were already sick. You see that? So if they could turn a virus into something that they could scare everyone with and come out with a new product to take it down every year or two. Oh wait, they already did that. It's called the flu, right? Now they've got a new one, worldwide scamdemic of this nonsense that they're going to roll out boosters every, what is it now, 5 months? Supposed to have a booster every 5 months, right? So, conclusive studies proving contagion do not exist. No one in the world has ever taken a pure, isolated virus particle. Your friends won't believe this. You should take a picture of this. No one in the world has ever taken a pure, isolated virus particle with nothing else added from a sick organism, introduced it into another living organism via a natural mode of entry. See? Nose or mouth. How else is it going to get inside you? How else for thousands of years would it ever get inside you? Nose or mouth. You've got an immune system right here. Here. All your holes in your body, you've got an immune system there, right? The way to get it past your defenses is with a needle. Introduce it into a living organism via a natural mode of entry and cause the same disease in a previously healthy person. No one in the world has ever taken a virus, put it in a healthy person and made that healthy person turn sick. Does this turn what you've learned on your ear, on its ear? Yeah. Does this turn my teaching, some of the stuff that I've learned in school, bachelor's, grade school, high school, bachelor's, doctorate? Yeah, absolutely. But this makes all the sense in the world because I remember in school going back, and I've since gone back and looked too. When you see something that's proving, you have a research article about a virus. We're going to take this virus and we're going to put it in these rats and we're going to see what happens. When you look and see how they purify and isolate it, those of you who were at the movie about a month ago that we did, where we showed the scientists talking about how no one's ever done this and how there's so many medical societies out there who are saying, show us the virus, show us the virus, show us the virus, show us the virus. It's not there. Who? CDC. Show us the virus. It's not there. All these people around the world, laboratory testing centers that are trying to get a pure isolated sample of CV19 to calibrate the machines, but they can't find it. It's not there. You can't get it. doesn't exist. It's in a computer code. So if you were there, you understand what I'm talking about. But nobody has ever been able to do this. Because back when I was reading through research articles, you would notice that they would take diseased tissue from a monkey, they would put it together with calf blood, they would put antibiotic, they would starve it, they would poison it, then they'd blend it up, and then they would say, this is the purified virus. Every study without fail. And I would think, well, maybe I just don't know enough. That doesn't sound like a purified, isolated virus. But you'd read it and you'd go, well, it's in the medical journals. But you think about it and you go back and you look at the stuff and you go, they didn't purify or isolate anything. This has monkey crud in it. It has calf crud in it. It has chicken embryo in it. It has mucus. It has blood. It has antibiotic. It has preservatives. It has heavy metals. It has other drugs. And now we're blending it up, and that's the purified isolated virus. That's what that means. Here's another further, go back. Not one single experiment in history has ever proven contagious, viral or bacterial disease. Every single experiment has disproven both. Does that blow away a lot of the stuff I learned? Yeah, but I live in this area. You know, I live in, oh my gosh, I have to rethink some stuff. See, a lot of you would do really well to live in that area. And the friends that you know that are skeptics, that don't believe, that think all this is hogwash, who are following every shot and every booster, they would do very well to humble themselves and maybe look into something that they thought they understood, but really didn't, because I'm finding new stuff all the time. Check this one out. I'll read this because I know this is hard. I didn't want to type all this crap out. During one of the most widespread polio epidemics, 1949, contraction of polio by definite contact with other victims of the disease was not established in an elaborate study made by the New York State Health Department. The United States Public Health Service, in its studies, also found the same negative answer during succeeding outbreaks of polio. In short, they learned that the disease was not contagious. Time magazine commented on this unexpected revelation of these surveys by remarking that when and where people catch polio remains a mystery. And this is just FYI, this is called The Hidden Dangers in the Polio Vaccine, Chapter 10, The Poison Needle, written in 1956 by Eleanor McBean, medical doctor and naturopathic doctor. That's what those initials mean. So I'm right here. We'll continue on. The supposition that viruses entered through the mouth and nose led the experimenters to make exhaustive tests on both animals and human beings, mostly prisoners and orphans in institutions. Note that. So children, right? They were exposed by close association to polio patients, and their throats and nasal passages were frequently swabbed with matter from the patients that was supposed to contain viruses. No polio was produced in this way, and about the only noticeable after effect was that the subjects of the experiments lost their sense of taste and smell due to the damaging effects of the poisons in the serum that was used on the swabs. Want to know why they're testing your kids 3 times a week at college? They're depositing stuff. They're not taking stuff. They were doing it in 1956. Well, 49. This was written in 56. So they're losing their taste and smell. My question is, how many times you get a Q-tip into the back of your brain for such a virulent disease that you can catch it from 6 feet away? They have to dig into the back of your brain. Think about the stupidity of that. Think about it. You can look up that book. I mean, if you can still even get it. We're in the middle of book burning season right now. So, very interesting stuff. Commercial break, and then we got a couple more things. We're out of here.
All right, so this testimonial says I was in chronic pain every day. I had headaches, immune health problems, TMJ, and a lot more. It was hard for me to get out of bed. I didn't want to be around anyone because I felt like I wasn't even myself. It was hard being around anyone when I was in so much pain. Now, I am pain-free, working, and going to Texas for my mom's birthday for a week. Wow. I feel like I'm operating in how God created me to be. I'm able to help and pray for people who were feeling hopeless like I was.
Yeah. You'll hear that all day around here because we've created a culture of healing and hope and health. What you will never find is, even though this product is being pushed on hundreds of millions, billions of people, you ought to go to Pfizer and Merck and GlaxoSmithKline and AstraZeneca's websites and see all of their testimonials for all of the healthy, happy recipients of their products. Where are their Google reviews, 5-star reviews, and Facebook reviews? They don't exist. Where are they? Why don't they have them? Why don't they want you to know what's in the stuff? Think about it. It's a product forced on you by legislation, not because you want it. It's horrible. Think about that. Moses' mother did not comply. Sorry. I mean, if it sounds like I'm a little fired up, I am, because I listen to people coming in here getting their lives destroyed, and I just say, man, we were talking about this like 9 months ago. You know, go back and watch this. That's all I can tell you. Next. When you find out bee stings only have a 99% survival rate. Yeah, nobody else's, right? That would be stupid a year ago, right? Art of Confusion, call Fauci. Moving the goalposts. This is probably my favorite meme of all time.
Yeah.
And if you can see this guy's expression, total complete confidence. Like he's not gritting his teeth. I don't even know if his jaw's clenched. He's just laid out like a swan. Look at that. I mean, this guy's not even, he's just got his feet in one spot. He's not even moving. Isn't that great? I just love that. Which is the hardest for you to say? I love you. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I need help. Worcestershire sauce. I appreciate you. Or my conspiracy theorist friend was right. Yes, I am a conspiracy theorist. I absolutely am. I don't know why people are ashamed to say it, because I have yet to find a conspiracy theory that didn't have a whole buttload of truth in it. You know, most of the stuff they're telling you, conspiracy theories, are things they don't want you to know about. Isn't that crazy? So I'm looking for more. If you got any good ones, send them to me. I will be the judge. I will evaluate my thoughts. Thank you very much. You don't need to tell me. Imagine, if you will, a pandemic so severe that we can afford to fire healthcare workers.
Right.
You know why? Because it has nothing to do with health. The numbers are faked. The virus is faked. The tests are faked. The vaccine is the virus. So all the numbers are fake. The statistics are fake. And the hospitals being overrun are fake. You think I'm lying? Come next week. Bring your skeptical friends. Bring them next week. Polio is not contagious. So here's a review. Smell and taste suffered due to the damaging effects of the poisons in the serum that was used on the swabs. So where did polio go? Still around. They renamed it. And it's getting ready for a cameo to appear in late fall of 2021, according to the bad guys, right? So where did it go? They just renamed it. You still have, it's just like kind of last year, people say, well, what do you mean it's fake? Well, then what about all these people that have these respiratory things? I say, well, what happened to bronchitis last year? Where'd it go? What happened to pneumonia? Where'd it go? What happened to lung infections? Where'd it go? What happened to flu last year? Where'd it go?
Yeah.
They renamed it. If you know what happened with polio, that's why when this thing dropped, I said, wow, this looks like polio. It's the same thing they did 80 years ago. Same thing they did with the vaccine passports, funny enough. Same thing they did 80 years ago in Germany, right? History repeats itself, it rhymes, it's an iambic pentameter, all of it. So fake pandemic, fake virus, fake deaths, fake testing, fake results, fake numbers, fake vaccination rates, fake news, real bioweapon, real deaths. Interesting, huh? People are wearing 2 masks and a visor, standing 6 feet apart to avoid something they can't prove exists. This is the stupidity. This is where we are. The most evil division of medicine in psychiatry used to call that order what? That disorder. What did it used to be called? Interesting, huh? If you were wearing a mask and a visor and standing 6 feet apart from people a few years ago, you were the crazy person. According to the most evil sector of medicine, which is psychiatry. According to the most evil people, you were the nutbag. And now, if you're not doing that, you're a nutbag. Many have been given a real mental illness nowadays by fearing a make-believe contagious one. Quote me on that. Let the haters come. Send me emails. I love it. In inflammation, the toxins are concentrated in an organ or area for a massive expulsive effort. The area becomes inflamed due to the constant irritation of the toxic materials. Think, here's your deal. These are not diseases. These are your body fixing problems. Runny nose, diarrhea, cough, sneeze, vomiting, fever. Diseases that don't exist. You've been told Sudafed, Imodium, cough syrup, Benadryl, what would that be? I don't know, Imodium maybe? Fever, Tylenol. You've been told to get rid of all of these bodily fixes. Your body is working hard to push stuff out and to expel. We would call this drainage. Medicine calls it a disease. Make sense? That's all I have for you. That's it. So next time somebody says, oh, my blood sugar or my headache or my fever is going through the roof, tell them the truth. Tell them what's up. What kind of questions we got? Anything? You had your hand up, Meryl.
You know,
We need a microphone so that everybody out there can hear you. And let's hit up Facebook or whatever social media we're still allowed to be on. Let's see
Is
what
it on? Is it on?
what
Yeah,
it's
okay.
on. If we've got any things on social media. Yes.
Okay. I think I know the answer to this, but I want to ask you about this. When I was growing up, there was a young boy that was a year younger than me that was always on crutches because we understood he had polio.
Mhm.
And his legs were, wobbly, but that was the only person, yeah, that we knew that ever had it.
One person.
Yeah.
And how many million got vaccinated?
Yeah, so that was from a vaccination, maybe a measles, mumps, rubella vaccination
Well, the
or something
DDT
like that.
thing is what is really known to have caused a lot of the polio. You know, when they were scaring everybody with mosquitoes and bugs and stuff, and they'd drive through with the trucks spraying DDT,
And could he ever?
and the kids running behind the
Yeah.
trucks.
Okay,
Remember?
Okay.
I don't put that timeline together. I thought DDT was a lot later than that.
DDT poisoning. Yeah. Yeah, they just invented it.
So I read something a while ago. Who was the most famous person that had polio? Roosevelt, right? Well, Roosevelt didn't have polio until he went swimming in a lake that had runoff from the chemicals that they sprayed on apples. Once that happened, he started getting DDT. Polio was a big thing in Great Britain at the time. And what they did was they traced it back to the apples that they were importing from the United States. They stopped importing the apples. Polio disappeared. So
Yeah, there's arsenic poisoning and all kinds of chemical poisoning that, just like we talked about here, with statins being common thing. One thing, replace the statin with arsenic, or replace the statin with DDT, or replace the statin, and will you not have an onslaught of thyroid issues, ED, infertility, all these other diseases that will be diagnosed as a separate disease, but it's basically because of the chemical poisoning. Whether it's a chemical or a metal or some kind of toxic air freshener, lead paint, kids chewing on lead paint. You know what I mean? From China. How long's this crap been going on? We got the voting machines, the tests, the vaccines, the virus, all of it came from the same country. There would be war 30 years ago if this was happening. You know what I mean? So it's always, well, here's a rule. It's never what they tell you, and it's always a physiological, there's always something that's causing it. It's not genetic, and it's not germs. That's what I just proved to you through this. Through a couple quotes, couple little things, anecdotal things about the polio thing, and but take it to AIDS, take it to Ebola. I didn't want to go down that road because that's a very touchy thing. When you start telling people that some of the microbiology and the virology that we've all studied for years, what if it's not stuff attacking the cell? What if it's the cell pushing things out?
Right.
The pictures that we all know, if you've taken a microbiology class, here's a viral particle attacking a cell. But you know that there are whole entire sections of science that debate whether viruses are alive or dead. And so the question is, why do we need antivirals to kill a virus if it's not dead? Or if it's not living, And then there are other people who say, well, no, it's dead because it's an intracellular parasite and it has to use cellular organelles to replicate its stuff. So the question is, well, is it alive or dead? Well, don't even know. But those pictures of here's a virus going into a cell, what if it's not the virus going into the cell? What if it's the cell pushing out toxins? Wrapped in a protein layer, and it has a bunch of nucleotides in there, exosomally pushing out, secreting toxins. And what if we all fell for it? We went, oh, okay.
Is that what's happening with the vaccinated people now that are making unvaccinated people sick?
Transmission of viral particles is widely known for decades.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
You just can't call it
I just can't come by
shedding.
that, though.
You can't call
Yep.
it shedding because there's no virus
Yep.
in the actual thing. So people, snarky snarks, snarkosauruses will come out and go, there's no such thing as viral shedding. They're right, because this vaccine doesn't have a virus in it.
Okay.
So technically they're right. It's kind of like the new governor in New York saying, you know, you got to follow God and get the vaccine. You know, I wear my necklace and God told us that we need to, everybody has this vaccine. Her God told her that. She's not lying.
That's right.
Her God did tell her that.
That's right.
Her God just isn't the one you think it is. Her God is a very different God. It's just like when they say vaccines are safe and effective. They are. Just not to the people who take them. They are safe and effective to the people who design them. They're fulfilling their purpose. That is exactly what they were designed to do. And they are safe and they are effective as long as you don't touch them. So, yeah, the virus thing, yeah. It's absolutely, they just change light is dark and dark is light. Good is evil, evil good. Change the definitions, right? Yeah,
I have another question about the
Hold on.
temperature thing.
yeah.
Because, you know, when we're raising kids, oh, you don't want your baby's temperature to get above, what is it, 103, 104, and brain damage and seizures and so forth and so on. So put him in a bath? That's what I used to do, is put him in a bath.
Yes.
Is there something else you do?
Let it, just let
Let
your,
it ride its course.
let your kid do, let your body do what it, Ashley, why don't you speak to that?
So
Microphone. Ashley's had perfect experience with this.
I have had 2 kids who've had seizures, and seizures are just a way the body resets the temperature. That's all. It's scary as hell, don't get me wrong. But when we flew here at 70 miles an hour, and Dr. Brett's like, he just needs some calcium lactate and Chondroplex, and he was fine. And now I don't go without having calcium lactate in my house when fevers come, because it's a deficiency.
Deficiency of those things?
Well, deficiency, yeah.
And the calcium the body's using up, so you need to, yeah.
So a seizure is not necessarily, I mean, we've all just been scared, you know, to death of everything. A seizure, let it go.
Yep.
Their body knows better to do than what you do.
One thing you're told about,
I
they
know.
can swallow their tongue and...
Yeah, you could do that with anything. You could sleep and swallow your tongue. You could pull a Jimi Hendrix any day of the week. But
held his breath, so we had to administer CPR, but he came right back.
you could choke on a piece of steak, you know? They make you just so afraid of everything. Your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, a headache. They make, oh, it's a heart attack. Oh, it's cancer. Oh, it's stage 4. Oh, we don't know. Get over it. Just get over it. Let the kid have a seizure and let his body figure it out. Believe me, his body's smarter than you and me put together times 10. His body knows exactly how to fix it. Yeah, is it scary? Yeah, it's scary as hell. But the worst thing is, what's scarier? Running into the emergency room and having them shoot him full of crap and then wondering why he's seasoned out and he comes out, he's a vegetable? What's scarier?
It used to be,
And
yeah.
all we do in the ER is give them oxygen and anti-seizure meds.
Oh, let's say that louder. Give me a microphone.
We don't
Hold
do
on.
anything else for them.
You don't do anything else for him in the ER other than,
Oxygen and more medication
Oxygen.
for another seizure they're not going to have.
say that again. So somebody comes in with a seizure, they're stroking out, their seizure. All you do, oxygen
And drugs.
and drugs. Hear that?
Yeah,
That's medicine.
yeah.
Then they send you back to the pediatrician with the check boxes. How long was the seizure?
Right.
How long would, like, you know?
Right.
Oh, you don't have to worry about a neurologist because they didn't check all the boxes. That's what we were told. So, when Amelia had one, so.
We've had
We
2
weren't
children
worried about
that have had seizures, and this is one, and he's perfectly healthy.
Hold on. Yeah. Krista, tell everybody what you do, if you don't mind.
I'm an ICU nurse. I used to be an ER nurse. Now I'm an ICU nurse.
ICU. You used to be ER, now you're ICU?
Yeah.
So you've seen this plenty of times.
Yeah.
What's the proper procedure, standard operating procedure for a kid comes in with a 107 fever?
Give them Tylenol and ibuprofen.
Give them Tylenol. Did everybody hear that?
No.
Give them Tylenol and ibuprofen.
Both?
Both.
Oh, alternate every 4
But,
hours.
but we give them both in the ER at
What's
once.
standard operating procedure for somebody comes in with a heavy, thunderous headache?
Usually the doctor's like they're being dramatic. We can't do anything for them anyway, so we put them in a dark room and give them pain meds.
Usually the doctor says they're being dramatic, put them in a dark room and give them pain meds. Okay,
that costs
perfect. Perfect. I want to run through a few things if you don't mind.
Yeah.
The rest of the things that we went through, like, okay, so fever. Yeah, fever we already talked about. Somebody comes in with heavy duty, like just blood pressure going through the roof and they're all freaked out. What happens?
We can't really treat that. So
High blood pressure?
we usually just give them blood pressure medication. And if usually it brings it down, so it's like a Band-Aid, and then we say follow up with your primary care. And then if we really can't bring it down after like 5 medications, we'll admit them to figure out what medication regimen we need to send them home
After
on.
5 meds. What are the drugs that you would use to bring somebody's blood pressure down in an emergency?
Usually like metoprolol or lisinopril,
So,
labetalol, a
lisinopril,
beta
metoprolol.
blocker.
So beta blockers. What do beta blockers do?
They vasodilate and
Beta
cause your heart
blockers-
to not beat as fast.
The beta blockers do what?
They slow down your heart rate.
Band-Aid.
Steal, kill, and destroy. They suppress, inhibit, and shut down the physiology of what? Your heart.
Isn't lisinopril what they use snake serum, the venomous snake for?
I have no idea. But there is some kind of like
There was
a
one
Gila
high blood
lizard.
pressure medicine
it's a Gila monster. It's a
that-
blood pressure med from a Gila monster that they make it from a dragon.
Do the same thing with 3 shots of tequila.
Yeah.
Brazilian
Perfect.
medicine. I don't know.
What else? So with bad chest pain. What's standard operating procedure for a chest pain?
When they first come in, we do an EKG and we give them nitro. And
EKG, nitroglycerin.
And if if they don't find anything on the EKG, we just give them pain medication. Usually watch them, do some blood labs, and if we don't find anything, just follow up with a cardiologist.
Hear that? Now, ERs, don't get me wrong. ERs, those guys are geniuses. Like they can sew a limb back on. Cool, I'm into it. I've been in one. We're not poking fun at ER, but that is less than 0.001% of all of the healthcare you've ever known. All of the other healthcare you know is your aunts, uncles, cousins, and kids being drugged, poisoned, cut, burned, and chemoed out of existence. That's the 99.9% of healthcare that you're all familiar with. Not the ER. What about an emergency? You never do it. No, I'm into emergencies. I'm trained in all kinds of emergency stuff. I love emergency medicine. I think it's great. Splinting a broken femur, let's do it. Applying tourniquets, let's do it. No problem. But all the crap that we're taught, this healthcare, none of that crap, hardly any of that crap should even be in the ER to begin with. Correct? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Now that I've totally implicated you. Yeah.
ICU, but not for long.
Okay, one more question and then we'll boogie. And then we'll shut it all down. Anything else? Or any comments, questions, thoughts, ideas, or concerns?
Can we see you every day on something, or every week after you do this? Can I watch you I live in Missouri. Can I watch you every week after you do this?
Wow, she is creepy.
Where you got it from?
This is your mom. It's genetic. There is genetic stuff.
Well, after I figured out you might know a little bit about what he was talking about.
He tricked you, huh? That's funny.
That and some people at church that I'm watching really strange things now too.
People at church, you're watching really strange things like what?
Frank Speak.
Huh?
Frank Speak. All
Who?
about vaccines and how people are lying to us and what's really in
Oh,
things.
Frank
and
Speech.
You ever hear of Frank Speech?
I have, yes. Yeah.
I go every Friday night and drive home at midnight by myself.
Okay, so you're seeing weird stuff with cats at church, yes?
No. What?
I thought you said you're seeing weird stuff with people at church.
I thought they were weird too, until I found out they weren't and they weren't.
Welcome to where all the weirdos hang out.
I've been lied to all my life. I'm 100 years old almost.
You've been lied to all your life about what? Medicine?
Doctors being good.
Yep.
Government being good.
Yep.
Medicine being good.
Yep. Good. Join us. Welcome.
You betcha.
Welcome. All right. Charlie, congratulations, man. Converted her. I love it. You should get two spots. You should. You should. All right, we're going to sign off. But next week is the medical professionals. I don't ever announce the mystery speaker panel discussion stuff, but this one's going to be a humdinger. It'll be great. We've got some pretty cool questions that are going to be coming up, and you will be blown away by some of the answers, I promise you. So your hard to get through to, skeptical, scoffing friends who don't understand any of this stuff and don't want to, kidnap them. Bring them here.
But I've
Get 'em
been in
here.
medicine for 50 years, been a nurse for 50 years. and
Who has?
My friend.
Oh, your friends, yeah. Yeah, been a nurse for 50 years. You know what, you gotta have, if somebody's been a nurse or a doctor, and some of them, like I said, are in it for the money, some of them are in it to help people. I don't know which one's which, but I do know this, that everything that they're taught is evolution and atheism from the very, very core, going back to the beginning opening pages of chapter 1 in your science book in biology. It's atheism and evolution. And you have to understand that that system, it's Babylonian witchcraft. And you have to understand that it's based on a premise that your God does not exist, even if you are a Christian. Their God is a very different God. So you just have to come to grips with that. And if people, you have to. I mean, there's stuff like I'm still playing around with some of the stuff. There's some stuff I didn't want to throw out there because I didn't want to scare you guys. But there's some interesting stuff that scientists, virologists, epidemiologists, and people the world over are finally, like right now, going, whoa.
Yeah.
People with PhDs who have been biochemists for decades going, whoa, whoa, whoa. This makes no sense. Maybe some of the stuff we need to rethink. And it's those people who, see, nothing will ever happen good in this world from people who just keep doing the same thing over and over. Keep believing the same crap, you know. But if you're investigative and you'll look into things and you'll investigate, the wonders of the world will be open to you. If you just simply sit down and go, man, I don't know everything, but Lord, guide me. So give me that wisdom of Solomon. Let me understand things in a way. Teach me, Lord. Show me. I don't know everything. And I don't even know that I want to know everything because it's too spooky and scary and creepy. But there is some stuff out there, Lord, that I feel like I'm not getting the whole shake. And I know there's some stuff that's being kind of cloudy. So show me what's going on. But I'm telling you, when you ask that, be ready for the answer to be a shattering of your world, a true shattering of the foundation of everything you learned. Because he could, I mean, we still don't even know the shape of atoms. You understand that, right? Molecules, atoms, we've never seen one. It's all hypothetical. We build models in science class and we have, you know, the solar system with the planets spinning around, you know, which I won't get into right now. But that's the basic model of how atoms and molecules work. But we've never seen an atom. It's all hypothetical. Protons, neutrons, never seen one. No scientist ever seen one. It's all hypothetical. God tomorrow could drop a nugget and our whole entire understanding of physics and, you know, Newtonian gravitational everything could be gone in a breath. It's all based on a theoretical model. Just like this whole shot thing, this whole vaccine thing was based on computer modeling. How fast would it spread through a crowd? Well, you think they didn't run this before they released it? They had computer modeling for it before it was even out there. Think about it. So just like that, God could, and the whole entire shape of an atom would change overnight. And half of the stuff that we think we know would be just what? That's how his ways are above our ways. His mind is above our mind. We will not get it, but you can at least be in conjunction and say, show me what you want and break my face wide open if that's what I need to. You know, there's some stuff that I've been learning the last few years that I never thought, oh my gosh, this is backwards. This is totally upside down world from what I learned, and you can do it too. So with that said, no problem. Jane, microphone. Yes, last thing and then we're out of here.
I'm recalling a quote that I just heard a couple of weeks ago, and it so applies here. That quote is, believe it, love it, and live it. And it applies to truth. We've got to cry out for truth.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to us, we have to choose to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can believe it, but we then have to choose to love it.
Right.
And then when we love it, and only then can we live it.
Right. Very well said. Absolutely. Yeah, it's like you can tell people. I told people this the other day. You know, some people wouldn't believe it. If you gave somebody a shot and they passed out dead right after that shot, there are people out there, you've seen it, where they would watch the person die and they would say, well, thank God they got the shot. Their death would have been so much worse without the shot. That's happening. That's happening. Doctors and nurses you're seeing this. Well, thank God they died right after the shot. It had nothing, couldn't have been the shot, has no way of being the shot. They just rule out the complete possibility. That's their magical, toxic cocktail, black magic, voodoo, sorcery, witchcraft jab. It's impossible that would have any negative effect on a human body. They don't bother to read the ingredients. They don't bother to even think. It can't. It's a vaccine. It's magic. And I'm the quack? Think about it. But that's what's happening. They're shooting people up. They fall over dead. Well, their death would have been so much worse without the shot. So thank God they got the vaccine, right? That's what's happening. You guys have seen this, right? That's what's happening. So there are some people that they're just, they just won't get it because they choose not to. And if we're at this point right now with political stuff being fake, media stuff being fake, church stuff being fake, medicine stuff being fake, pharmaceuticals being fake, and they're not waking up right now, I don't know. I mean, God's giving so many chances for people to wake up, and so many people are willfully choosing to be ignorant. It's a shame. It's heartbreaking. But you guys are here, and I wouldn't say that about any of you guys. You guys are here, and you're understanding. But it doesn't just stop with you. Understand, you have kids, you have nieces, you have nephews, you have grandkids. They're all buying into this stuff unless they have somebody speaking truth in their life. I'm only so many people, I can only do so much. My thing, I'm doing what I know God has told me to do, which is be a watchman on the wall for this community. As many people who are under my charge, we'll bleed for you, we'll help you, we'll stand behind you, we'll lift up your arms, we'll help you through anything. But if you poison yourself, there's a lot that we can't do for you. So we will help a lot of people, but I'm doing everything I know to do. You guys have to pick up your part of it and take it to other people. Tell as many people as you can, because I'm keeping my ear to the ground on a lot of stuff just so you guys don't have to dig through all this stuff. I understand. I've got time to do this. This is my life. This is what I do. But I understand you guys aren't going to sit down and watch a 4-hour webinar on, what's really in the shots, with all the leading scientists in the world. You wouldn't even be interested in it. It would bug you out. You'd probably not even want, you got kids, you got families, you got jobs. This is what I like to do. So let me gather all the stuff. I'll come and present it and say, hey, let's see what they're actually saying. Let's see what the medical doctors and the scientists and the whistleblowers are actually saying and what they've been saying for decades. The vax thing that happened with the CDC committing fraud and, deception, that was 7 years ago that the movie came out, but it was 20 years ago that it actually happened. It's in 2001 when they showed the MMR and the stuff with the autism, where they cooked the books and threw away a bunch of data. That was 20 years ago. Nobody made a movie about it until 6 years ago. Let that sink in, and it's right out there if you want to see what the CDC was up to 20 years ago. It's right out there. And if you want to see what the U.S. government was up to and all the pharmaceutical companies were up to, remember that 15-minute video last week from 60 Minutes, back when Mike Wallace and the boys, had like some integrity in journalism and stuff, and they had the Pfizer guy or the pharmaceutical guy sitting there lying right on camera, and they went right to another guy, high-level guy, and said, here's the documents with his name and this and that. He was at the meeting. And they take the stuff and they show it to the guy, and he's, and you can just see, they caught him on camera. So unless it was brilliantly acted. But back in the day when there was actually some truth and integrity in journalism, it was amazing. Now, but go back and watch last week it was a 3-hour treatise on the whole, it's a humdinger. It got us kicked off Vimeo like that. It was a humdinger. I highly recommend it. So that being said, keep up the good work, and we'll see you next week for the Mystery Speaker Panel Discussion, Medical Professional Edition. We will see you next week. I am Dr. Brett Spradlin. This is Divine Design Natural Health, signing off.